Hunas and Brendan. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time and same bad channel, which you can catch on a lot of different platforms, as we've just said. But for now, Brendan, going to be at the big desk.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. Yeah, 2 o'clock. Welcome back in as we get the post-Fed rally. I mean, we're positive on the day, so I guess so. A lot of people were not expecting that, I don't think, today. But here we go back to the upside. A couple things to note. Coming off some pretty hawkish comments yesterday from the Fed, specifically Powell, we're seeing some yield movement back downside today, which again is kind of strange, but not in line with what happened late in the day yesterday. That is for sure. Here's a dollar downside to start things off here 2 days in a row now. We're right back at that 105.5 area, trying to hold for the dollar. So that's helping as far as individual movers are concerned, helping equities, that is. As far as individual movers are concerned, I noticed Rivian's having a pretty good day. We had to move up yesterday late in the afternoon for this one. Didn't come back as much as some of the other ones into the close. That's just a volume thing, but nice day for Rivian here, up 3.2% as it makes its March higher. It was a really strong session overnight in the APAC region. Here's PDD, 11% on the day. It's been just a straight March higher all day long for Pinduoduo. Nice green board, though, right across the entire thing. We'll touch on Amazon coming up here off earnings. Eli Lilly, among others in the pharmaceutical space, to the downside today. Broadcom standing out as far as some of the chip makers are concerned, under pressure. Huge day for Qualcomm, up more than 10% for most of the day. It is coming off a little bit now. Strength in retail, though, I want to mention as well. Walmart, Home Depot, Costco, TJX, even Target, all up more than a full percent. There's the overall market. Trying to take out that pre-market high, or test it at least right now, as we get both gold and oil downside here late in the day. But we tested that support level early on this morning. Get a nice bounce here right back to basically session highs, and it's been decently anyway. About some of the chip makers today, we'll touch on a few of those coming up. We had a ton of earnings to get through in the pre-market this morning. One of those was, I mean, a couple of them were very highly shorted names in CVNA, and also Wayfair was the other one. Ends up being a bit of a back and forth mess here, guys, for Wayfair. Still holding on to a huge gain, though, on the day.
I actually, yeah, you know, Wayfair, obviously, I'm in Carvana, by the way. I came to the dark side on Carvana as I'm shorted. But, you know, Wayfair ended up more or less doing a strategy that I think a lot of times is something that I might have been involved in, where you look at a retracement or a gap fill, and you take the most obvious level that it will pull back to, and then it dips into that price, shows you multiple levels of support, and then just go long. So Wayfair, I think 27% short float in Carvana. We'll get to that in a second. But Wayfair, I didn't trade, and you're going to see it up that 15. Right back in at the open, it dumps to more or less 55, 55 and a half, 55 and a half, 55 and 30, right in front of what was like a pre-market resistance level, and then off to the races. So that was actually a pretty solid trade. If you're into support turning into resistance and back and forth, which I actually do like, that's a bit of a thing. And then I had all these grandiose plans of Carvana either taking off the top, halting down or up, and then doing some post-halt trades and 40% and 50% up, or from 30% to 10% only, and all that craziness, and absolutely none of that happened. So I did the aftermarket show, was completely convinced. I had all these images in my head of what was going to happen going to bed, and then waking up this morning on the train this morning, and none of it happened in Carvana. I took one trade off of VWAP that didn't work, and all of a sudden I'm short because it broke support, showed trend down, and has a lower high. So I'm in this short at 114 into 115 half, and I'm going to scalp out into the bottom, and then I'm going to hold for a 110 break. Because the only thing, like out all morning long, I'm like, it's not going to hold the inside range. And we were sitting here, Sean and I were sitting here, when it broke that 115, it's like, you could have just had that trade. I'm in it on the way back up, but if you just waited for it to break that range down, that one trade alone, it does bounce off 111, but you probably scalp some out, and then it never really went against you. And the level of patience required to wait for that perfect setup, it's half a day, but you know what? I think it would have been worth it. The only good news for me on Carvana is at least I wasn't in and out a million times in the first hour because it was tempting. I had a level 2 dedicated to it. I was ready to go the whole way, and at least I didn't trade it. So sometimes the thing that you think is going to be your number one, I'm going to trade this the most, I'm going to put the most risk on, probably still going to be the case because now I'm into it. But it kind of defied my expectations. At least I didn't overtrade it. That's the only thing I can say about Carvana. Disappointment. Thought it would do more.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, that move is in the after hours. And I mean, it's had a good move, but yeah, we had both said that it was going to halt. And we haven't had any halts yet, and it's 2 o'clock.
Oops.
So, that was wrong. Yeah, so I'll just go to a day 2 play. You just talked about Carvana there. I mean, a day 2 play with a name that was smoked yesterday was SBUX. So it just came back into the day's high again, and we shorted it, so just recently. So if you're wondering why we have the price that we do, we've covered at the 50 period. We got a little bit down here. We just covered another bit here at 50 cents. But basically, I just want to make sure I don't have any more bids, which I don't. Okay, good. So this was a play that I was looking for to go short against 75. We had more offers on the way up, nothing filled. Short SBUX day 2 play as, yeah, yesterday, bad news, man. Bad news, and they don't like it. We talked about it possibly getting down to $70 if there is a problem in the NASDAQ. We could get this name down into that $70 mark. So we'll continue to look for longs. I feel like I'll buy some down there, 71, 70. But let's see it get down there first and then have to react to it. So for right now, we're short. We only have 30% left on this SBUX trade, but day 2 plays short.
All right, Qcom, trying to get back to the upside right now, actually. It came in off that high once again, but really nice day still, up more than 9% for Qualcomm, as we saw on the board there when we came on at 2 o'clock. Standing out as far as gainers in the chip space today. After
Oh yeah, great look for them, Brendo. And they said something that I didn't really expect. They said that mobile chip sales are starting to pick up. Although they really primarily focus on Android devices, it is a good information piece to have. Beating on both the top and bottom line, the guide coming in 8.8 to 9.6 billion. The street was looking for 9, so well above the mid-range there, Brendo. So good look all around.
Yeah, positive. I was just counting them up here. There's probably 8 or 9 different analyst moves here. Mostly really positive. Overweight to equal weight, mostly on the positive side, raising price targets here for Qcom as well.
Spoiler alert, 9% up is good. Which, you know,
very.
Sometimes you just got to state the obvious. Qualcomm was, like, I've never really traded it, maybe once years and years ago, but it wasn't a super clean trade. That said, what it looks like it's doing here, if it closes above, thank you for the, there we go. If it closes above 177, then what it's doing on the daily chart looks like a pretty clean breakout. I think it's a good sign overall for what we might see with Apple, although everyone cares about the AI and what we hear for AI for Apple. But hey, man, Qualcomm saying doing the right things is going to be good for the overall space, even though it's not the same direct comparison you would make. I don't think they're out of the water, but remember that 177 breakout on the daily? It ends up being support in the morning, and then a consolidation underneath, and then a breakout from there. So if it puts in a higher low, I think you can see the top. The market seems to want to take that top. So if a consolidation break happens, this would look like a long in to the high of the day. I guess that's the only way we're going to segue into chip stocks, I suppose, right? Otherwise, well, yeah, because I mean, I don't see Microsoft, DoorDash. We'll get to that. I'm in ARM and back into Intel. So ARM was one that I said in the middle of the day. It did the rejection of 100, and I did we're going to short it into VWAP, which is usually one of the same things. The first consolidation there, then only get half in, allow it to do the break, and then when you see the wick high, leave yourself some room for ARM to do the dance over-under on VWAP. It showed some strength on the way back in, so I then added there, then I had the full position. I scalped some out. It held the bottom. I reloaded VWAP, stopped out with a lower stop. Don't always love doing that, and then just jumped right back in. I hate when you move your stop. In this particular case, I've actually kept it a little bit tighter because the market is doing this weird dance where it's breaking out highs. So I like the fact that ARM's under VWAP, but the market continues to go higher, so I have a relatively tighter stop on that position there. Chip names are going, and keep your eye on Nvidia, which is now 3% up, like ARM, but the difference is Nvidia is literally at the high of the day. ARM's under VWAP.
Yeah, we've been doing fine on AMD, but now we're caught in a short here as it continues to go. This is the only chip name I think I've had. Well, actually, okay, well, there goes AMD. It just took the top. what was I even talking about? We traded SMH. But anyways, a whole bunch of AMDs here at 145. Now it's starting to go upside, so forget about that. SMH was a big one. Anyways, AMD, we just got hit on that one. But here's SMH. This was a good trade. Only one out. That hit us, and that was right at the end. So a couple good shorts there, back in against 210 at that time. It was VWAP was moving down there. So good move, or the 200 period. We were shorting it against that level 210. It broke. Now it's way upside, and we're starting to break higher here. The NASDAQ's definitely going for a little bit of a jog here now. So AMD just ripped up to 146 pretty nicely there. I have so many fills on this. There it is right there, just wick topped. That was good. A lot of volume coming in right now. Look at this. How many green candles in a row, says AMD. All right, well, there's a little bit of a pullback. But again, I don't want to get too carried away with all these pullbacks here. I feel like the right way is short, even if you're looking at, man, we talked about that earlier. It's too bad because like we had Tesla, we had Microsoft, we had Alibaba. Alibaba's ridiculous, by the way. I mean, we had 77 long on Alibaba. It's 81 and change. But that NASDAQ bounced right here off that 17.4, and then now we just took out that 17.6 and starting to hold that level. So I almost feel like we need to go long against 17.6. The chart's always set up better for shorts. Like we were just talking about that right there. Like huge red candle, now the push is coming back in. But maybe we should just be getting long on these dips in. So let's regroup, but those are my two trades today, AMD and SMH.
All right, Microsoft trying to get going here as well. 0.6, what is it? Yeah, 0.65 right now, trying to get back above some resistance from this morning. I mean, there wasn't much this morning as far as news, but this is interesting. 2.2 billion going into Malaysia's cloud and AI services, largest in 32 years as far as investments.
Yeah, they care about what's going on in Southeast Asia here, Brendo. And they mentioned this in 2021. They announced that they were going to invest in Malaysia, Indonesia, and at the time they already had something in Singapore. What was new to us today was Thailand. Last week we found out that they're going to invest about 1.7 billion in Indonesia, and that's kind of what started this whole thing. But to be honest with you, Microsoft's been locked in a $10 range for a while. 390 to the downside, 400 to the top.
Yeah, trying to get going here right now, actually, guys, for Microsoft.
So I'm not in Microsoft. I actually doubt I'm going to be in Microsoft, but I'll just quickly show you because I did just get out of something, and it's going to be Vana. Vana came back, pulled in, bounced off 113.5. I got the first leg out. I had bids down for the low of the day, but it just ran the top. So I don't want this getting to VWAP, and I'm still in the same trade and not looking for a different one. Until it starts either getting, if it goes to VWAP or it puts in lower highs, I'm going to stay away from it. I think it's still trending down, but I got to see some lower highs to get back into it. As I said, I'm not in Nvidia, I almost said, not in Microsoft, but I do want to just quickly point out here, this had a pretty decent rejection right at the open, this spike right in trying to test like the 99 level and the $400 level, and it's been an absolute barcode for this stock. If we never break, if the market breaks highs and fails, and something fails a lower high that is weak relative to the market, I think you want to be looking for shorts in stocks like that, in a general sense, right? Like this is not pressing the highs as the market's pushing out. So you know it's a little bit weaker. It's got a triple top in there. If this market does pull back, like sometimes it does in the afternoon, I think Microsoft getting under VWAP is going to be the place to go. I understand there was a good catalyst and all that good stuff, but right now it's weaker than the overall market. So I don't anticipate shorting something like an Nvidia, but if we get back underneath VWAP on Microsoft, that would be a different story.
I think Microsoft is the easiest trade of the day, and we have it. It's my P&L number one, but wasn't here during that time. We wrote down 394 long. The bottom of the day is 394.70, something like that. I mean, it sucks because like here it is right here. Microsoft 394 long, the number one idea there. Oh yeah, by the way, the number two idea, Bob along. So we had both of these long. This one is now $5 in the money. This one is now $5 in the money. Tesla 178 long. We can go double check that. The craziest part about all this is these two didn't even go against you. It was the Tesla one that went against, which was the problem for us, which is why when it goes against you, you know, that's where the real trading happens. You got to figure out what to do when stocks go against you. And hopefully you can either regroup it or not. You know, we have an example here with AMD. What just happened to me right there on AMD can happen again, like this, boom, boom, all the way back in right to that level. But see what I was saying? You got to rethink about what you're doing because that was just a regroup long. So there it is, a wick bottom there. Now it looks like you're playing the momentum back to the upside. Anyways, crazy wicks here. 146.07 all the way down to 145.60 again. So just like quickly 70 cents there or so in a matter of 2 minutes on AMD. We're averaging in, we don't have Apple on there. Apple's going to report tonight. I was just trying to give it, we've done fine. We talked about that hit early right there, but since then we've shorted, and now we're kind of stuck in a short. As here it goes, up to 173, and we'll be stopping out of Apple. All right, well, I guess they're buying. I didn't think they'd buy this into the report, but looks like they are right now. Apple will probably be a hit here as we go longer. Starbucks and Apple, the only two trades we have. We just got more Apple right here in head of 173. If that breaks, we're gone. That's where our stop is.
Yeah, if you're looking for the short, anyways, this morning on DoorDash, that was the right direction, but ends up being a bit of a non-event here once we get to that low from after the close yesterday. Huge move down on the earnings report yesterday after 4 o'clock, but since then, I mean, we're just kind of chopping around here, trying to bounce right now, but not much to do unless you were short.
Yeah, Darren and I didn't look at this during the how to trade midday, so unsure as to how it did. But with respect to the earnings report, I can let you know on that. They beat nicely on the top line, but they missed decidedly on the bottom line there. About a 50% miss with respect to EPS, what the street was looking for. They did grow, as you and I talked about this morning. They did grow their orders. So hailing increased 21% year over year to 620 million actually rides, Brendo. But not enough to turn a profit.
I was just seeing as well, there's actually, it's not big, but 4% of the float is short.
Interesting.
On DoorDash, I wouldn't think that.
Is that what it is?
Maybe. Well, I mean, the most interesting dash, I think, is potentially outside in the back in the alley, because Sharif's dressed like he wants to go race somebody, which, I don't know. I'm just saying. And I'm like, no, I'm just, you got the track gear on over there. And there was a challenge. There was somebody that challenged me to a race. I'm not going to throw his name out there, Fahad, back in the day. And I was like, anytime, any place. And I feel like
feel like he wants to race you. He was here and he was not shying away. So
he literally showed up when I was on vacation.
I know.
And then talking about how he still wanted to race me. Now Sharif hasn't issued such a challenge, and I have no idea how fast Sharif is. But DoorDash was pretty boring. That's why I'm making it up. I had the weird thing about this morning, and I know Adair was saying things like it was a challenging day to trade. I think 100% it was a challenging day to trade. Most of the days, if you come in and the stock that I'm anticipating is going to do the biggest movement, it's going to break out, you're going to have outsized moves, that's the one I'm geared up on, that's the one I prepared for probably the most, and does nothing that you were expecting, like where the halt trades on Carvana, that kind of a thing. It's going to be tricky. And the two things that worked in the morning were basically a couple of SSR bounce plays. DoorDash in here, it ticked down, it was 10% down at that point. It made a higher low. I just went long back through that higher low, scalped it out for like $1 change, and then once it hit the VWAP, moved my stop to break even, but at that point it couldn't turn into a losing trade. And then there was another SSR bounce play in Fastly, which, by the way, Fastly, we don't have it on there, but if you think somebody, 35% down is not good by any stretch of the imagination. They got absolutely destroyed. That said, if you're simply talking about what happened in Fastly from the open, it was wipeout bottom, higher low, and I probably, the trail out here, it's going to happen. Like I had a trail. The second it took out that 850, I'm going to trail it out, and then ran the trail and has been bouncing off VWAP. But very simple setup, and oddly enough, the two longs that ended up working pretty cleanly for me. Well, Neo I had to take a couple times, and we'll get to that in a second, a little bit later on, because we're still in it, because that wasn't as clean as one simple entry and then it works. The ones that worked out were in some of the weakest stocks today. Like DoorDash and Fastly did not have good reports. They were getting absolutely crapped on, and then they ended up off the open being pretty quick, easy longs, especially Fastly down 35%. But that's a specific setup, so you just take the setup, and it ends up working out, right? So it is what it is. I'm not still in it right now, and I don't anticipate trading this. I would say for this particular name, if it does settle down in this range, it's got like this double bottom from earlier at $7. So if it holds that for a couple of days, maybe there's a relief rally in Fastly. But I wouldn't be rushing to the hills to buy this one. I'm just simply pointing out that if it does hold 7 for like a couple of days in here, it could be interesting again.
Okay, yeah, no, it's definitely been a very, very difficult, I feel like difficult day to trade. We talk about this all the time. I'm going to show some love up to Mr. Tracksuit because there's two positive traders on the floor today. And one of them is my guy up there. So let's go. Let's give a big shout out to Sharif. So congratulations, Sharif. Killed it during the midday. So there it is, man. And that's the thing. We talk about this. The midday is giving you value. You know, these guys are live trading, putting it out there, teaching, and trying to put some of the, the teachings into play. And that's, I think that's very, very important. So shout out to you, Mr. Sharif.
You know what was really cool too?
I got you.
This morning, he didn't say it specifically to me, but I know I was listening to Sharif and they were talking a little bit, and he was testing some things out on some small caps with some trades, just like getting a feel for them and like some new ideas in terms of executing in the pre-market. And I can tell you that stuff's invaluable. Like there's been times where I was looking at something in the pre-market, and whether I paper trade or just take like a min amount, where I'm just getting a sense for like how is it feeling, how is it moving, because it's so different. And if you're not really engaged in it, you don't get that feel. So you always got to be trying new things. And I heard Sharif mention that to Adair, that he was trying some things out in the sim to build on some strategies, and that's what Learn to Trade is all about there. So I feel like we're gonna go back to the desk, and the next thing on there was Wayfair, but we easily opened up with Wayfair. So when we come back, we'll talk about the Chinese ADRs, which are not on the list, but let's go back to the desk.
And anyway, let's talk about Wayfair. 16.5% here, trying to get higher as we speak. But another one, I mean, huge gap to the upside off their report today. Not much in the way of follow through, sadly, unless you're looking for a dip.
Yeah, Brendo. I mean, it dipped a little bit there, reclaiming VWAP. But yeah, as you mentioned, not much in the way of follow through. But they did do better than expected, to be honest with you. They did a little bit less in revenue than the street was expecting, but they really shored up cost here, and they did a lot better on earnings than analysts had anticipated. 32 cents they lost per share. The street was looking for a 45-cent loss. They've also dropped about 18.1%. Year to date, but they did get a nice pop up, so that should be closing a little bit of the gap. Right?
Yeah, been a long time since we've seen this kind of volume for Wayfair. Probably the last earnings report there, above 10 million. This thing usually trades 4, 5, 6-ish on the day.
Yeah, we made some comments about Wayfair, the 55 level holding. It was like a pre-market brick wall, and then it dipped back down and bounced off 55 3 times and then went. I think if it's the start of a squeeze there, it's shown some better signs than Carvana, at least, because Carvana seemed to be breaking VWAP and trying to fill in the gap. However, I did promise you that since we didn't trade Wayfair, we talked about the Chinese ADRs today. So I'm in NEO. You'll note that I'm in one of two, and it's not this one. Someone said, Neil, why didn't you trade Alibaba? Well, I traded Alibaba. When we talk about getting things in on the front end or the back end, or at least when Sharif attributes that, I'm going to take that break 10 times out of 10. I said I'd be in the 78 break no matter what. So I took the break. It doesn't work right away. That went exactly to plan. Take the break. It doesn't work. Just simply get out underneath my stop. From there, looking for the dip buy. And when it did this bottom wick in here, right to 77.30. I waited for it to get back upside. So strength, buy the higher low, and then give back into the bottom. It did the same setup, and then after 10 o'clock, it regained VWAP. So at this point, there is easily a trade that usually I will put on when Alibaba does this, and it's the consolidation off of VWAP. That was a mistake, and that was a fail. The double top breakout was also another one that was available, 78 the second time at 10:30. At that point, it is what it is. You can make any excuse you want in the world, but that's a stock that I'd wanted for at that price several times. We talked about this level finally breaking. Just one update. I even said this in my personal account. I'm like a lot of other people. I'm in Alibaba, but it's not what I would deem to be a full position in my long term. And I said I'm not adding to this, guessing what the bottom is going to be. But if it closes on the weekly above this breakout at 78, and I turned to Sean, I was like, yeah, it looks like I'm going to be buying this thing tomorrow, or tomorrow, or on Monday, thinking today was Friday, but it's not. If it closes tomorrow above this resistance here, which clearly it's above 80 right now, as long as it's there, I'm buying this in my long-term account again. I'm doubling the position, and then I'm just going to hold it. Because I wanted to see it finally start going, and then say, okay, this looks a little bit different from the other times that I've thought this stock had made a bottom, which is really only 3 times. I'm in NEO, but it wasn't necessarily clean. I was buying the dip, and then what I should have done on Alibaba, I did on NIO, which is wait till it gets back above VWAP and then go back into the long. Now, clearly, it would have been a better trade on Alibaba than it is on NEO. There's no doubt about that. And Alibaba went significantly further, but it is what it is, right? Like that VWAP reclaim is such a good entry when a stock does that little shake everybody out move. Like you get some confirmation off of VWAP so many times. That's why we keep talking about that indicator.
Man, like we talk about not being green today. Okay, I guess my earpiece is no longer hooked up. Yeah, I know, eh?
Huh?
Don't worry about it. No, my earpiece isn't hooked up. We have Alibaba written down here, $77. We have numerous fills down there at $77. My best out is $78.30. RAM. I mean, you know, we talk about who would have known. We talked about double the trades here, the dip buy and the breakout. They're both written on here. So yeah, that's why I'm a little sour about Alibaba, but I love the position. We've been liking this name for a while. Shout out to Shakib and shout out to everybody that continues to look at this name with me. All right, so look at this. I just want to let everyone know, like, I just thought Apple would sell off into the close. So we've traded it fine. We made some money back. We talked about being red basically off of this trade right there. That was at 934. Apple just started going, and then thankfully we were able to get a little bit back. Actually, we didn't get anything back. We actually wound up, we didn't get out of it all. We got out of, I think it was 75% or something. Maybe punched a little bit back. I can't remember the trade, but anyways, made a little bit back there, shorted again. Like this short was good, and then now we're stuck here. So it's like we made money, like so lost our whole day right there. And again, it's not like when I say a whole day, it's just like that started us red, and we had talked about that. And then we had made back a third of it or so before we left at 11 o'clock. And then we just shorted here, that one again. No outs higher than any of these shorts, right? Purples are shorts. This one's equal, I guess. And then right now is the trade that we're stuck in. And I'm just stuck against oops, I was already maxed out. I'm just stuck against 173. Like, we already took this level out, but that was yesterday's very top that we had shorted yesterday. And then this happened. So, yeah, it looks like, look, we won't, on this particular trade, we won't give back what we made here on Apple. That made our day yesterday afternoon. So let's just see. Again, I should stick to my guns about saying that I don't really like to trade stocks day of earning or even day before earnings because you're not sure where everyone's going to be positioned up. So again, you know, we'll have some shares here. We will take an L on this position, but we're going to get out if and when, it looks like when at this point, this name breaks 173. I just thought it could give up. I mean, the market was pulling back. Alibaba's pulling back. Now the NASDAQ seems to want to get going all over again, and it is being led by Apple. Apple's straight to the upside right here. Big report coming after hours. Like right now we're 5 cents out, and I'm talking like all doomsday and stuff. I'm not really feeling this current position as it sits right here near these highs and still marching forward. It looks like Apple wants to test higher here into the close.
Just one thing. I mean, Google. There's one other name. Ooh, we're almost there. Google is also breaking high of the day and also leading the market a little bit. So it's worth pointing out because Microsoft's not doing it. Amazon's pulled back as well. I haven't checked out Meta, but no, we can throw that back up. We're underneath. Look, we're less than 250 away.
Yeah.
Let's do this. All we have to do, like, why wait for Friday?
Who's on?
What's the point? Thursday, let's get, who wants to be the 450th subscriber? It can be you if you hit the like and subscribe today. And you know what? As a matter of fact.
Is that live? That should be going up
No,
live.
it looks live.
Why is that not going up?
You know why it's not? Because I didn't hit this.
Like, subscribe, and share the show that takes you into the heart of the market.
Yeah, I don't know. That one just is always a fail. The rendering is dying.
That worked.
It actually worked?
That worked. We got one.
But I feel like I'm freezing things if I hit it again.
I feel like people are going to hit minus now just because this is what happens. Like whenever we put it on, sometimes it goes down and it's like.
Well, because people want to they'll unsub so they can sub again. What was I? Oh, a big move. Just a move happened in Longeveron. There was just some news there on the wire. They got like a patent that was granted using, okay, something stem cells, and I'm not going to pronounce that word. I'm not a doctor. So LGVN making some moves. Sorry, I was just talking about Google for you guys. There's LGVN. You're probably seeing it pop on some scanners. It has done 500,000 shares worth of volume. That's my way of saying a stock that's $2 and has 500,000 shares worth of volume. I know it's moving, but I'm not touching it, and it wouldn't fall into my category of anything I'm remotely interested in. Tonight, I've already anointed that we are all interested in Apple. There is zero question about it. We all care how they report. We all own them in some way or another. But the most interesting earnings play aftermarket for you on the show is going to be Square, is my call, Sean. I think it's going to have the best move in terms of excitement. You've got the crypto space. You had the recent obvious issues with regards to possible transactions in crypto regarding terrorist accounts, which is not a good headline for them. But after that dip yesterday, it's bouncing back. And much like what I should have done on Alibaba, and then you're going to see a recurring theme here, why is it so bad that I'm not an Alibaba off of VWAP? Because I took the same trade in other places. Dip down, breaking the low, consolidation off of VWAP, and then starts going. I didn't get VWAP a second time, and I'm trailing it at 69, but that's it's just a trading setup. Fail break at the bottom, which traps some shorts. Then it breaks back out, dips, holds VWAP, go long, and then you have an upward trending stock. So I think Block has a good chance. I actually still own some of it. I don't own any PayPal, but I know I have some Block left in my account from when I didn't sell 100% of it a while ago. So I guess you could call me a bag holder in Square, because technically, I mean, I've been holding this thing for a very, very long time. It's not a lot, but maybe I'll make a decision on it. It's holding the 200 period, which is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, on earnings, it could bust through that no problem. But it could also be through the 50 period and up in the 80s. Boring would be not breaking either one of those moving averages for me. If it doesn't break either one, it might not be the best trade tomorrow. But I like things on earnings that go into new spaces. That's the excitement that you're looking for. That said, Carvana did, and I'd consider it a fail trading-wise.
Carvana was an amazing trade. Yeah, I think Square could be it tonight. We have a couple good names coming through tonight. Apple, Coin, Square.
Coinbase.
Did someone say something about Rivian there? I thought I saw in the chat. Someone said something about Rivian, but I don't. Nice spike up there. Maybe there is news.
Oh, wow.
Receive $827 million in state funding. Here it is right here from Benzinga. Rivian to receive $827 million from the state of Illinois funding. Company intends to boost capacity. That's good. I mean, they need to boost capacity, right? I mean, we've talked about how they need to. They've got enough demand, but not enough cars. So that's going to be a good one there for Rivian. So my thing still is not connected. I have to figure this out. So I'm going to reconnect my earpiece so I can hear some of this news. But there goes Rivian straight up to the upside right there.
I just heard them say what you just said, though. They didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I was just reading the story, but
I heard it in my ear from Benzinga, and it was pretty much verbatim what you just read. Look, it's up 15%, but it's on the way to $10 here. Let me just, when in doubt, zoom out. I think you always have to get a bigger picture look. And the daily chart says you're breaking back into that previous resistance at $10. So obviously $10 isn't just psychological here. $10 was also that big support level. So if I think there's a continuation, I'd need to look for a dip, because I said this in the afternoon. Sometimes you really don't want to be going long a top into overhead resistance, and $10 I think would qualify as that. So a dip after this settles down, the quarters look pretty good. If it would hang out there, any consolidation would fit the bill. I don't think I'd want to be shorting this one when it's finally starting to go. Like these things that have been so depressed, you've now made a bit of a bottom, a couple of higher lows. Now you're trying to break it out, and there's a bit of a catalyst. I think you got to watch out for that a little bit. Arcan, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Booking and Palantir earnings thoughts, please. Thank you.
When is Palantir?
Thank you. Palantir's not till Monday. Right? Booking, I really don't know when. I have no idea when Booking is going to report, but Palantir is on Monday. Actually, Monday Aftermarket is Palantir. So the good news for Palantir. There you go. The good news for Palantir is on a weekly chart, if you can find something you don't like about this on a weekly chart, then I don't know. I don't see anything I don't like. You've got a smiley face. You're holding the 50. Going into earnings, the trend is what you like. You have a potential flat top break that it could take out, which was a significant resistance level. Obviously, everyone's going to be concerned about, valuation, this, that, and AI running out of steam. But I think it gets pretty simple. On a weekly, you have $20 support. You've got the 50 on the weekly. If it hangs on to that, I think it's doing absolutely fine. So I'm only ever looking at things from a technical standpoint. I don't know where your hat is, but if you can always put your hat on. I know you own this one in the long term, but technically speaking, it couldn't be looking any better on the weekly chart right now. It's exactly what you would want to see here, rounding into a potential breakout of the high. That said, it looks like to me it has to hold the $18 level, and if it breaks under that, then I suppose that would give me some concern. But outside of that, that looks absolutely gorgeous on the higher time frame.
All right, I think
booking. I don't know. I haven't looked at that stock, so I couldn't really tell you.
All right, let's see if we're connected up here. We got this all connected back there. All right, so I was just looking. I wanted to look back at Tesla because that was again the 178. Like all the ideas that we had today were dip buys, and we actually talked about that in our morning note. Was that we thought there was going to be some volatility early and then give us a chance to dip by that bottom. And this is the most frustrating part because that bottom came in and it did exactly as we thought it would do. But for some reason, didn't have the sort of wherewithal to hold it as much as we should have. Like Tesla again, like here's the bids. Like, it went, it still went against buck and change.
What's the bottom there?
176, basically, right to the dot. So almost right to the. Well, what do we have? Ours says 163, which is for some reason. But anyways, 170. This must have been a dark wick down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 176, basically 03, and then my last fill was 177. So we could have held that a little bit more, but we already took a hit holding 178 because 178 was the level that we had thought. So that's not. We called it. It's there. It doesn't matter when shot call or whatever. You got to hit the shot. Alibaba was a shot. We did actually hit this one, but unfortunately it was from like a free throw, not a three-point range. And this goes all the way up there to 81.50 and just keeps on trucking like crazy. That's Alibaba. The one name that I don't think I looked at anyways, we talked about Google getting down to 160 as the ultimate shot. This was going to be like a huge one if that had come in. If you see right down here on this chart here, the one-day chart, that 160 on Google is so nice. It does remind me, and we already talked about BABA. We talked about it, how it was a multiple strategy play here. It was also, look at the break on the daily. If I zoom back out here on Alibaba, boom, there it goes right to the upside, what we've been waiting for. So, we had bought Alibaba down here, like we talked about, 71 and change. It had gone up a couple times for us, then dipped right back in, and now starting to go upside. And the thing is, it's the same story that I talked about this whole time with Alibaba. It was the buyback. It was the infrastructure play just at their AWS, their singles day. How well a name that we can equate maybe more, better with an Amazon. This is the Alibaba. So, Amazon looks like this. And we've already showed you what Alibaba looks like. Alibaba can't even fight to get over its 200 period moving average. I don't even know where Amazon's 200 period is. Probably here, 140-ish, something like that. Oh, well,
it's actually
higher,
50.
150, yeah. So, anyways.
Okay, that stink bit of mine on Amazon obviously didn't fill.
Whoop. A tale of two countries, I guess, Amazon versus Baba. But, all right, Apple's falling down a little bit here, but we're at that 173 stop out area. So, this could be stopping out very, very soon. Oh,
you're right, Brad
Fonzie
Gober.
He wants to take Google. Yeah,
that Amazon's chart is gorgeous.
I love that chart.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You just saw the daily chart. I'm going to show you the 15-minute because remember that high yesterday on Amazon? We are now 50 pennies away from that, maybe a couple cents more, but it doesn't really matter. If this takes out 118.15, today's high is 10. I think this is closer to 15. Double top breakout. The market's continuing to go. I think Amazon has every bit of a chance to, that's like a bad wick, but if it breaks this high, not today, let me get that out of the way. I don't see a reason why you're not at least testing that 52-week high. Like you've already done the dipsy deal on earnings. Anybody that was waiting for a bigger retracement underneath the 50 period is kind of like me, missing out on a dip buy where they wanted to add to this stock in their long term is what it is. That's why you just buy the Qs every single month, Neil, which is good, but better if you get it in on Amazon when you get a chance. So I think this is going to be a decent breakout potential this afternoon. Market is making some fresh highs in here. I have a trailing stop on Square because it's no longer pressing that high as much. And Rivian, so much for the dip in Rivian. Looks like it's just going to go straight to 10. Oh, wait a minute. I just pulled it up. I swear it was right at 994. It was about to test 10, and then the first dip just came in here into 985. So it was churning, trust me. Now starting to slow down a bit here on Rivian.
All right, thank you, Ramin. All right, so yeah, we're long in and around. I'll have to double check. Wasn't it 1025? Oh, sorry, wrong stock. I just got some out of Apple there because I'm starting to get mad at it. 10% out. But anyways, yeah, this is battled back real nice. I mean, Randy, heads up to Randy because he was talking about this name, like trying to get some more in, buying these dips, believing in the company. Again, like unless you bought in the last week or so, you're definitely underwater on this, but nice move back up to the upside. And hey, when you can spend taxpayers' money, sorry to tell you this, taxpayers, but it is a good thing unless you're Intel for production. So there goes Rivian to the upside. I mean, they need, look, what would you rather have, them take a loan from the government or have a share offering? You know, I mean, I think the choice is pretty obvious, and there it goes right up there to the upside. They've already done offerings to dilute their stock as well. So hopefully this does give sort of that energy, literally, to Rivian because I believe in it. We've seen it a couple times here before. Ramin sent pictures. My wife just keeps on haunting me for one. And it's just like, they look real nice. I thought I saw the R2 Black. I didn't think that was, I liked it, but I like the other ones better. I really think that new model that they have is something. We've seen Polestars sell. I mean, there's a lot of Polestars around the road here. And I just feel like a little bit of a lesser price vehicle, if it can still have like that snazz to it, like that sort of like attractive, like new shiny thing look, I think people will buy those. So Rivian's in the space now. Let's see if it can get above the 50 period. You know, we have people on our show all the time talk about, you got to see this thing turn around. You got to see it flip over. So we're starting to sort of level out a little bit on the 50 period. This is a nice little smiley face. Just need to get above this $10, $11 mark. And then I think it's a decent spot to start to add to your position. All right, there's a nice little move down for me. Thank God Apple's doing this move, to be honest with you. We always say that whenever you have to thank a higher power, it's not great. So that's why I'm saying thank you, because I said that I did not like this trade at all. But coming back in right now is Apple, back down to the, you know, to the low end right there. So we'll wait to see what happens here for Apple. But let's just take a little bit out. I'm still waiting for more, but like I was not. We were close there at that 173 and change. The high, I think it went to 173.10. Just be careful with this one, and let's see if it can get back down to the downside.
Yeah, and look, Rivian, I think it's got a lot of, we always talk about that, a lot of potential, but there weren't the only ones that were moving. I saw a few people talking about Lucid up on some sympathy there. Lucid is actually, from a trading standpoint, probably more boring, but it has a higher short float. It doesn't move as much, but it's a 30% short float on Lucid, and it's also on the verge of making a rounding bottom and breaking the 50-period moving average. I feel like we're always forgetting about them, but then when you think about it, they've got some deep pockets behind them to try to survive this for a long time. So I don't want to forget about this name. They're above the 50-period in like 5 cents. That said, Rivian is moving a little bit more with a little bit better volume today. I think if there's going to be something for a trade, it's probably for me, Rivian, not Lucid. It just did a dip in here and looks like it wants to take out that 10. 985, the local bottom. So if I can get low 90s with a stop underneath 85.
This is a great one here. Wow.
Yeah, this could be it looks like it wants to at least take a chance to break $10 today.
It will.
It's not there yet, and we've stared at things that have not broken a million times, but it's getting really darn close.
I mean, Apple is, oh man, Apple's the one right now. All right, let's go down into the downside here. We will have Frank any moment, and then when we do, we will just be waiting for Apple to fall on its face, hopefully into earnings. But we saw it. Come on, let's go. Come on, Apple. Hopefully this can make it, into this 150 area as we short this. Yes, sir. Now it's 40 cents in the money, man. We've got some positions going on here. But more importantly, what an interesting week it's been. That was a wild market yesterday.
A little bit.
Look, we know Frank can pretty much explain most things other than what's happening with the Chicago White Sox. But at the end of the day, that market dumped there into the close when we were talking about hikes versus no hikes, no mention of the word hike. I think he mentioned it once. We've now mentioned it like 10 more times than he has. And I'm talking about Fed Chair Powell. So it'll be interesting to hear. Maybe if we can get a prediction from Frank. I don't know if he's in the business of making predictions, but what does he think? How many rate cuts potentially in the year of 2024? I'd be interested to hear if after yesterday, if anything in his opinion has changed on that.
I say 1.
0?
I definitely think, especially yesterday, actually, my opinion changed for sure coming out of what seemed like nothing. But I think 1. I think that's what the market's saying, and so it's really cheap of me to say that. The greatest likelihood is 1 25 basis point cut here this year. But I thought without really saying anything yesterday, Powell actually did say a lot. And obviously the market thought that he did as well, although they reversed everything by the end of the day. But yeah, since he didn't really, I think one reporter asked him like very directly if rates are sufficiently high. And he said like 2 times straight to this guy that, yeah, they're sufficiently high. Kind of talking down the idea of a potential hike. And I think that's what you saw, that knee-jerk reaction of stocks, bonds, everything rallying, euros, everything rallying off of that press conference, was pricing out that chance of a hike, to your point. And then, like I say, he came out a little bit more dovish in that he didn't come out hawkish given all of the recent data releases. And so I think you're going to get your 1 cut, but I don't think you'll get more than that because he seems really reluctant. But I think you'll get the 1 almost for like a show of we're heading in that direction, but not at any great fast pace for sure.
Yeah, to go as far as saying, and he seemed to anyways go out of his way to say, the next move is not going to be up.
Yeah.
That was, he seemed like he felt like he needed to make that point at least. But I mean, let's be honest, we're stuck in a range. Inflation is stuck in a range. Mm-hmm. It's going to take something either direction to get this going in the right direction. But like my takeaway from that press conference yesterday was, why are they going to change anything here going forward for the foreseeable future? It doesn't seem like they need to.
Yeah, and I think that no cuts is still very much on the table. And like I say, when I say I think they'll get 1 cut in this year, I just think that is the most likely outcome. I think the second most likely outcome at this point, and the market's not pricing this in, but I do believe that the second most likely outcome is no cuts. And he just continues to balance the fact that it's funny. He is, so good at his job that he's been able to balance this for the last 6 or 7 months, right? Like we've been talking cuts since October. They have not changed rates, and the market has not given back really any of that bullish activity from October until very recently. And so I think, yeah, to your point, Brendan, I think he could very well continue to punt and continue to say we're not hiking if inflation continues to print 2.5% to 3%. And so, yeah, I'm right there with you that no cuts very much on the table, but he seemed to posture that they're going to head lower. Although I guess he didn't say it, did he? He didn't say that at some point this year. I don't know if I missed that. Did he?
I didn't hear that. I mean, he, as I was mentioning, he made that point of going out of his way to say they're not going up, or he thought at least there was a very unlikely chance that the next move would be up. So that, obviously indicates they're going to do nothing or cut, right? So we'll see. I mean, let's talk about a couple things here, because
Sure.
the Fed rate tool then, if you go out to the end of the year, first off, is back to basically a coin flip as to whether or not, I mean, as you said, there's still one priced in, but it's basically 50-50 here.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's a 50-50 proposition. And still, even after yesterday's talk, and I think you actually nailed it on the head when you said he felt like he needed to say that they're not heading higher, because I think the market was starting to price in. If you looked at the Fed Watch tool prior to that meeting, especially on Monday and part of Tuesday, when stuff was really looking dire, the market did price in a small chance of a hike, not just maybe one cut, maybe two cuts, maybe no cuts, like we're seeing again here today. But I think you're spot on there, Brennan, with the idea of he felt like he needed to say no hikes because the market was starting to price in potential for hikes. And I think that's when you really started to see the ball rolling to the downside, and equities on Monday and Tuesday was simultaneous with that. And yeah, now we're back to where we were really last week, which is still not necessarily the most optimal position for those out there who were banking on cuts this year, because it's still a pretty significant chance of that no cuts. And yeah, that tail on the side of 3 or 4 or 5 cuts is almost completely priced out. And I wonder what you think about the fact that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, yesterday wasn't a dot plot meeting. The dot plot did say pretty clearly 2 or 3 cuts for this year. And now the market has gone from over embellishing that to underscoring this dot plot that we've been getting for the last several meetings, which is 2 to 3 cuts. Now the market is pricing in little to no chance of 3 cuts this year, maybe 2. But to your point, really a 0 or 1. Do you think that dot plot gets revised in here in the future, or do you think that there's any shot of 2 or 3 cuts?
No, I'll say it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they need to. There's no indication as to why they would at this point, as I mentioned. But yeah, June will be the next one. We'll get a revised, updated, ever so exciting dot plot coming up here in June. But it's worth mentioning, I think, even when it comes to the dot plot or these economic projections that they also put out, they're very lagging. You have to go back to old data that they're coming up with these decisions based on, and not actually considering what has happened over the past even couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, last couple of months even. But yeah, it's funny. The dot plot is almost never interesting because of this exact point. But it has become, these things go in and out of vogue, these numbers, data releases, and everything else. But that dot plot is, for the first time, really since when I started trading, when we were at 0% interest rates, and they were talking about hiking. You'll probably remember it. They were talking about hiking for more than a year before they actually finally hiked. This dot plot is very relevant right now because the market is pricing in very different expectations relative to that most recent dot plot. So I wonder if they will reel it in at the next meeting. But what'll be much more interesting information is the upcoming non-farm, because it's interesting. We're taking bets around the office of what would be the perfect number for an equity rally. And a lot of people, the majority of people around our office over here talking about 225 to 250, something in that range, which still seems high to me. I feel like the baseline for non-farms over the last couple of years is the 150 to 200 range. The expectation is 243. And so if you think just hitting expectation is the best thing for stocks, there's your number. Obviously, we've been getting numbers much higher than expectations for the last 3 months, maybe even 4. I'm really interested to see what the equity market does around this number. Obviously interested on the number itself, but this is some weird territory here whereby kind of the flip of what it was a couple of months ago, where it was like, oh man, a higher than expected number is good for equities and a lower than expected number is good for equities, in that if it's higher, the economy's doing great. If it's lower, then maybe they're going to cut rates sooner rather than later. The equity market feels a little bit more fearful and vulnerable at this point. And so that's why it's increasingly interesting to see what people out there think is going to be a good number, because if it is, another 300K number, then Powell really has a lot of ammunition in his arsenal of no rate cuts and continuing to battle inflation, because employment is other, the Fed has to watch two metrics primarily, that's inflation and employment. And so if employment is not a problem whatsoever, then he can really continue to go after inflation. And that maybe means that, and here the unemployment rate has been very healthy. And you might remember last reading came in lower than expected, which really threw people for a loop. Everybody was expecting 3.9 or 4% unemployment. Interest rates are so high, that's going to at some point take its toll on the employment market. Absolutely has not. And so if Powell doesn't have to worry about unemployment, then he can really continue to battle inflation with high interest rates. And so a higher than expected number might be bad for equities, given the recent trend of higher interest rates actually starting to put a dent in equities. But on the flip side, I've been playing devil's advocate over here that maybe 150 or 175 is a good number for the stock market, because then Powell has to actually maybe feel some urgency with lowering rates. But at that point, you and I have been talking about this for the last year. By the time you get rate cuts, are you going to want them? Because are you now going to be flipping over this coin from hikes to cuts, and it's because the economy is struggling? And so this is the first one in a while that I really can't tell you better than expected number means this for stocks, worse than expected number means that for stocks. I think it'll likely be a good trading day no matter what. I mean, yesterday, the huge rally and sell-off, great to see both sides of the market, and then the continuation a little bit here today. I think we might get that same kind of indecisiveness and unknown tomorrow, no matter where the number is. Because like I say, I really can't pick a trend on either side of this 240,000 expectation.
It certainly hasn't been easy to do that, over the past 6 months even on these non-farm payroll prints. But the past couple, we've really paid attention to around here what the revision of the prior month ends up being, because that's, I think, a little bit more of a indication as to what the underlying conditions actually are. So if they're continuing to, because I think the past, I want to say 2 or 3, they've actually revised the prior month higher, even though the current month has also, blown out expectations. So if we start to see maybe the revision of last month that was still above that 300,000 come back down a little bit, I mean, I'm searching for straws at this point, but maybe something to look at.
No, the revision it's definitely going to be just as interesting as the headline number that comes out. But I mean, I'm with you there in terms of grasping at straws for what it's going to mean for equities. And yeah, I mean, for the day traders out there, I guess that might be a good thing, because there hasn't really been a trend one way or the other. There's been a huge trend for US dollar and interest rates, both to the upside, and obviously a strong number from non-farm tomorrow would mean strong implications for those two markets. But right now, equities, it's hard to get a tell one way or the other what they feel about this potentially higher for longer interest rate environment. So yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking that a weaker number might be the best thing possible, but not so weak Whereas a number that's in line to higher, I think just gives Powell, buys him more months of no rate cuts. But yeah, we'll see what comes in tomorrow.
Yeah, best part is we don't have to wait too long. 8:30 tomorrow. We'll bring that to you live for anyone watching. Make sure you're here with us for that. Frank Caberna, Director of Strategy over at IG in Chicago. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brendan.
Frank, there was a point in there when Frank said, and I put this in the chat, but I'm saying it anyways, where Frank said Jerome Powell is good at his job. And I said, Jerome Powell's good at his job, but Frank is great at his job. And we appreciate you coming on there, Frank, and we'll see. I was kind of with you. I mean, the market seems to think one cut, so why go away from that? It's an election year. Maybe they play it in the middle by being, you know, you're not going to get the multiple like everyone expected, but they'll do a little something late in the year. When it happens, does it even matter at this point? But I think sometime in the end of the year, there was the pump that usually happens overall in the NASDAQ, but we're cresting. And then Amazon got to that level, which if you're watching yesterday, you know exactly what we're talking about. 185, it broke to like 15s yesterday. Today, 185.10 is the high. It just ticked 185.07 as the top. So I waited for it. We shorted it. We've had other shorts all day long, and some of them have been bad. Most of them, realistically, if you're looking at the trend, have put you to some kind of pressure. But Amazon is at that level as we speak. Rivian, I just tried the Rivian long off the $10 level, and it does not hold out. So we didn't get the dip buy at 980, bought the dip into 10, got myself an average price of 6s, but it doesn't hold on at 98. Do not want this retracing all the way into VWAP. So it looks like Rivian's starting to give it up. But there was another new position in there. This is an idea from this morning, but VWAP finally happened on Peloton at $3. So I got Peloton here at exactly $3 at VWAP.
Well, we got a new position. We got Tesla. We're making some cash on this Tesla position right now. So we got two new positions. We got Intel short, and we've got Tesla short, and so far so good. So I mean, the Tesla short was really good, to be honest with you. Just came into play right there, up to that 182 area. I mean, it's higher than that now, or it's lower than that now. But this was a level that we were looking to short. I don't know, against 182, nice move up. Now here comes the retracement back down. Let's see if we can put it on. We are bidding 181.11, so a little bit of a dip down in the rate now. We'll take another 50 cents. We got out of half already. It was already down here once. There it is. Let's go. Oh yeah, we're back, baby. So nice little move downside right now on Tesla. There it is, a reloaded position. We were, well, reloaded, I mean, we were long the first time, now we're short. Another idea, I guess. There's Intel right now, so we just shorted that one as well. We pick on the week, which is fine in the stock market, not in normal life. And then we come down into there. We'll take a bid there at 38s, 39s, and now we'll see if it pushes back down again. Like, take a dime piece on this. Like, I'm not really, I mean, the 200 period is so exciting down here at $30.33. If you can go from recent highs back down to the 200, that's normally a recipe for success. Okay, Apple right now, we got to sit up a little bit here. Let's punch a little bit out of Apple there at 67. Good hold, good move down. I was waiting for these top wicks. We already got stopped out of a little bit there at 173 the first time. There it is again. We should have reloaded that, but we didn't. We have enough shares to be happy with that move. The one position that we did reload though, yeah, yes you are, is StarBucks. So take a sip down memory lane and you will be able to find past prices for StarBucks that you haven't seen in about 3 years down here at $74. Like so yeah, and then so we'll see again. I just tweeted it out. I like this position in StarBucks down here in and around $70 for a possible break in that name. Hold on a second. Like, it's already broken, so I was thinking that the break in the name will lead to this. Look at this sales drop on StarBucks. So this is like,
that seems bad.
2022, 2022, 2023. They're like, it's go, 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 go. Carnival, by the way.
Or
yeah.
No, there's no
Tesla's tank. Yeah, we already got. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Just bad sales numbers there for Tesla, and I mean we can.
StarBucks.
StarBucks, sorry, and Tesla.
Well, yeah, actually them too. You're
Yeah,
right.
but we
Yeah,
just take
yeah,
a dollar on Tesla. Tesla's going lower here. Starbucks now coming back in. Did I have a bid? Yes, I did. So right there, face slap again a little bit on the Starbucks, but we still have more to come on this one, hopefully, as the market may just start to give some more back upside right now. We've made back a decent amount of money, guys, on Apple here this afternoon. So we just got to say, we always talk about it, you know, despite us getting turned upside down right there, and we talked about that, you know, we're back with shorting again, and it's starting to pay off just a little bit right now. Starbucks back in the pocket. Intel is low, but we like a little lower than this. And then Tesla's trying to work out as well. We are only in now a third of our Tesla trade.
That's what it's all about. I mean, maybe it has something to do with Frank pumping and dumping it, but really stocks were at resistance levels, and that's what matters. And speaking of that, broken finance with the question, when you're looking for support and resistance, does it matter whether you use wicks or bodies on candles? I would say, like, you want there to be some kind of a body to sink your teeth into. On parabolic movers, I get it. Sometimes you'll see like multiple wicks at the same price. Right. But on a stock like, use Amazon as an example. On Amazon, I would like to see the body at resistance. This is 184.75. The wicks are maybe 30 cents higher. So you know the 85 is your general price area, and as long as you're short, maybe above the 70s, you're in the same pocket. On smaller cap names, you might see like ridiculous wicks, and if it has a triple wick top, you might try to work a trade off that. But on anything that you expect liquidity, I want there to be a body working off of it as well. So that's my 2 cents. Anyone can read a chart how they want to read a chart, because when I see a support level or a resistance level, I want there to actually be trading up there to tell me that there was a little bit of a battle that got lost or won by somebody. In this particular case, like obviously, each battle is either won or lost at a key price by the buyers or sellers. So it goes either way. But we just bounced back up in on Amazon, so I'll zoom it back in. I took some out there, 50s and then 20s. And if it does make a lower high, I don't know if I want to reparticipate, but I'm just going to jump over. I have trailed Block. Block reports aftermarket tonight. I'm not going to get more shares into this. It's not going back to VWAP. My trail's now at 69.5, and if we get to 70, I'm looking to take us out if we get to that 70 level. So this is 70, which would be somewhat of a gap fill for Square or Block here at the 70 level. So I'm just going to get out in front of it. We bought it off VWAP, and we've held it till now. The market is trying to press higher. I just feel like at this point, you're going to see, if it's move up, some profit taking can come into this going into earnings. All bets are off after the market for the stock, obviously. But yeah, going into it, it's been a strong rally. Some of this, I think, has to do with the strength you're seeing in Coinbase and Bitcoin. Coin is up 9% and showing zero signs of slowing down going into their report. And I now kind of wish that I had said that the biggest percent mover and exciting mover was going to be Coin and not Block. I think Block's going to do some things, but I had forgotten that Coinbase was also reporting. There's a pretty decent chance Coinbase might move a little bit faster than Block aftermarket tonight, Sean. But you know, they're both going to be fantastic. I think. I mean, I had forgotten about Coin when I said that about Square. I would suggest that Coinbase is probably more volatile aftermarket tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to say could be a big Q here. Up, no, it's up 9% right now, isn't it?
9, yeah, change,
Right,
9
yeah,
change.
today. So right here, I'm going to post this up on Twitter right now. But check out this. I mean, this is the thing about Coinbase. You know, are they putting that number up again? And if they do, then yeah, I think this name runs again. So there's Coinbase with the short float here. We'll check it out after hours. We'll have this immediately. I do have Coinbase expected time ETA. Oh, it's an early one, I think. 4:15 for Coinbase. Expected time of release, 4:15.
Where do you have the times?
7. Oh, I have it in my notes.
Okay.
76, 7.6% short float right there for Coinbase. So again, just interesting. Looking to turn profit again. I feel like with Ethereum and Bitcoin moving the way, wow, Tesla right now is starting to go for us again. Ethereum and whoopsies, get rid of this. Ethereum and Bitcoin moving the way they have has created a lot of buying and selling opportunities, of which where Coinbase should be able to capture spread, capture that fee, so on and so forth. So I think Coinbase does have a pretty good opportunity here today to take this out. 240 definitely in line for that. Okay. All right. Well, we're in the money on everything right now. So it's just a matter of how deep can some of these plays go. I mean, Tesla just touched $1 in the money. We didn't take it. It's now $1 in the money again, still not taking it. Market going to the high side right now, Tesla falling down. Maybe we should put a bid down near there just in case. But hey, if this market ever wants to turn around, it's up 1.4% right now and doesn't look like it wants to do that. We already took out 40% of Intel for basically nothing. A couple pennies there, whatever. StarBucks does dip into the 50 period. We take some more out. It's a reloaded position. We almost got it all out down here. We got out 70%. Held it back, put it back on. Let it go up just in case. Our stop was 75 anyways. We didn't really add to it. Not a heavy position here into the close. We were really focused on Apple, and we still have shares in this name, but you saw me react to that move down. I want to be doing that every single time there's a move down in these names. I want to be sitting there and reacting accordingly to that. So that's the play for me on Apple. I was going to say I do have a small sell up here at 173 again because of how it looked, but then we're going to get out if it takes that top. Just wanted to make sure we had that stop, which we do. So, you know, an out above this 173.11, and we'll get out of Apple. But here it comes, another averaging in spot. But again, you know, to be wrong on this name is a problem because earnings could get bought up. We saw a huge dump yesterday, but that was corresponding with the market. And right now the market doesn't necessarily want to do that. Starbucks still waiting for that. Tesla just came all the way back up. Possible reshort against 182.
Yeah, keep an eye on any chip names. I'm not in any chip names right now, but Nvidia, which is the leader of the pack, at least for what I'm watching here today, about to take out that 860 level, which, if you remember, we keep talking about these levels from yesterday being like pretty distinct highs that you resisted. I did have a scalp trade in Nvidia. I actually did trade this because I was in. I shouldn't have reloaded, but I did. I took a buck and then reloaded it, and then ended up with mostly a flat trade, like slightly down because I paid a little fees and a little bit of spread there. It was a dip at that triple top, but it's held on really, really nicely here. And Nvidia is battling heavy with the 50-period moving average at 860. You can see it right in here. So it's been over under several times, but the big dip has kind of already happened underneath, and you've been putting in higher lows since then. Not going to reload Peloton here. Like Peloton came back in, it got threes. It came back in at 295. I got filled there, and it's right back up at threes. I feel like if it just takes VWAP, Peloton's short sell restricted. It was down over 10%. If it's going to take out VWAP, I'm going to get out of here because it's exactly the kind of stock they could just start squeezing for no rational reason. So I'm not going to mess around with it. NEO, I have a trailing stop. That's not going anywhere. Amazon came right back up to the top, or close enough to that. Yesterday's high, let's just call it yesterday's high, 185 and change. It just dipped back down in a bit, and kind of like you were saying, it just put in a higher low. So there's a higher low here after the first dip, and then a second higher low at 184.20. So I'm going to take a little bit out, assuming it could put in yet another higher low. It is trending to the upside. So you're playing with a little bit of fire, but the best you can do is, if it comes to your level and you want to reload it, if it's giving you the same move, great. If it's giving you higher lows, then make sure you're reflecting that and you're scalping out of the trade. Otherwise, you're not going to get profits. You're just going to wait for a deeper move that's not there because of the trend. So that's my plan of action on Amazon here. We're just in that. Peloton, like I said, no reload going to be happening on that name.
I mean, doing as we say is always important, and we don't do that enough on the show because I didn't break any rules, but we did have a couple big trades here that we should still be in. But we're following the rule with Apple. I said we would get out on any dramatic move back in again. So there's another out for us. Look, it's 25 cents, but, you know, I'll put it in the pocket. We've almost, I mean, if there's a move here, we can almost make back everything that we lost right here early from the day. So I think that that's pretty important for my psychology as well, that we've done well, and I don't want to give it back by averaging all the way up and then getting blasted again just by thinking that Apple's a short. We nailed that short yesterday up there at 175. We're nowhere near that. Oh no, sorry, 172.50. Sorry, it was the futures yesterday. We're nowhere near there. But right there, 170, 172.50. We've already gone past that, which is why we lost into there. Now we're just using 173 as a top. And again, the market pulling back, Apple pulling back. So that's kind of working out for us. I feel like I don't need to trade into the futures. Here comes Tesla again. This is another spot to possibly get some out. I'm going to wait for down here 180.50. I feel like that's a good level for me to put a bid out there. So let's do that right now for Tesla, 180.50. In case, again, you know, you never know. Like sometimes you get down there, it'll wick down and we'll be able to get something. I did put another short offer up here into the 70s. So if that comes up, again, now it has to go another 80 cents, but when I put it there, it was 30 cents. So we'll see if that's working out. Apple falling back in, Starbucks doing nothing, and Intel doing nothing. So trading Intel and some of these names that don't really move that much, you really just got to be happy to scalp them out. And
CGC's breaking low a day.
oh, wow. Okay, so we talked about, that was $12 before CGC.
It's 10. It just broke a local bottom. CGC just broke a local bottom at $10.70. It just popped in for me on like a volume. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, never mind. We don't have free locates on it. I just want to try to grab something if I could get a pullback underneath. I'll double check. It's late in the day to pay for locates, but my guess is they're going to be just dirt cheap, like less than a cent per share. So we'll have to go ahead and do that. If it's flat bottom breaking, hold on a second. Why is that on New York? That should be, there you go, NASDAQ. If it's flat bottom breaking, there is room to yesterday's low still at about 1020. So it's got some room that it could fall a little bit further before it runs into any support. And I wasn't really thinking about trading it. That's why I haven't paid for any locates today, but it just broke that low of the day, which is why I'm interested. So it's probably like 1 cent a share. I'm just gonna hit okay, and then once I have it, I will look to short back into that triple or quadruple bottom. And as predicted, it is less than 1 cent per share on CGC.
Yeah, it's not too expensive. I didn't realize it was short sale restricted, so. Yeah, people talking about Tilray being red there again.
Yeah, well, that would be the same sympathy move, probably.
SoFi, we talked about SoFi being above 7. It's not definitely not. Well, it's not definitely not. It's below today, but just barely again right now. And not below by that much.
It just can't hold. Yeah, but it can't hold that level, which is so frustrating.
It definitely can't hold any levels. But it looks. I mean, to me, it looks fine. But yeah, SoFi right now in a bit of trouble. We don't by fine. I mean, it's not like I'm not an active investor in SoFi. I am trying to hold some of this to see if we can get a little bit higher than where we are right now. We had that discussion of SoFi v. Robinhood, and one's worked and one hasn't. We can check back in on Robinhood. That was up to $20. I feel like it's I was gonna say, feel like it's 17 or 18.
But
right
it's
now.
still relative to when we had the poll up. I feel as if SoFi is flat and Robinhood.
No, SoFi is down.
Oh well, Robinhood's at least a double.
Yep.
And SoFi up or down, it doesn't matter. Like versus a double versus down, and that goes. That's my frustration. I don't own a ton of shares of SoFi, but at the time that I got them in, I just look at anything else that I was interested in buying in that moment, and I literally mean anything else I was interested in buying.
Yep.
And I probably picked the worst thing. Like I have a shot play in Moderna. I could have just been like, I'll just add more to my Moderna position, and it's in the same shot play realm where I'm just thinking, this is something that I want to hold for a bit, and I think it can be parabolic, but it's not like buying the Qs every single month. I'm looking for like some kind of technical breakout, and man, did it not do that. Let's just leave it at that. So I am into CGC. We paid for the locates. I got some here at 1069. I tried to get some at 70 as well. I did not. You know what? Is this? Wait a minute. It was not. It's SSR. Okay. Right. CGC was down more than 10%, so you can't hit the bid.
Oh.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering because I crossed down, like it got above 70, and I was like, I'm going to add to the position, and I crossed down and didn't get filled, so it's short sell restricted. You cannot hit the bid unless the last print is an uptick, which does make it not as easy to get a short position. It just means you have to get hit on the offer, which is fine. We can post and then try to grab it. So CGC headed to the downside. As I said, 1020 right in here would be the ultimate target. Has to break 50 before it gets there.
I mean, there goes Tesla. We just shorted 181. I mean, this is a trade. So far, the only trades we've put on so far in the afternoon, and we're trying to be better at this. You saw me yesterday. There's the Tesla short 181. What am I in? 181.70. There's the cover at 60s, sorry. And now hopefully a move lower as that's a Dollar Club member as well. And then we've averaged into some Apple, but I haven't really put anything on in that. And then we've averaged in also to Starbucks, which really isn't moving, but still profitable since we've took this trade. And then the Intel trade, which is just hovering around. I was almost thinking about shorting Alibaba here. It's underneath the 50 period, but then it just bounced off the 200, like 50, 50 again. Feel like this is a good break if we can break below $80.50. That could be good, but then again, I'm fighting shorts into a market that's not a short, so there's that as well. I'm probably like, I mean, SMH, where's Microsoft? We had 390. I mean, look at this Microsoft bid that we had, and look where it is now. So again, we like that, Phil. Anything else moving that you guys want me to look at? Because, yeah, we didn't look at Carvana.
I just saw someone mention Beyond Meat. I think there's probably a lot of squeeze names that are going for no reason.
Yeah,
But no, that one's not really moving. I don't even know where they're going. Carvana.
It's still not doing anything, like 33%.
Yeah,
which is great, but.
Well, the good thing about Carvana is if it holds 30% up and doesn't really do a massive gap fill that takes out half of that, then anybody that's being squeezed on the stock is still freaking out, right? Like if it doesn't gap fill to 20% or whatever, close to that $100 level, there's a lot of people offside in Carvana, and then the squeeze can't happen. So remember I was mentioning 1050 on CGC first stop, it just bounced off 1050. I'm gonna reload on a pop, and you've got to sit on the offer to get it. So I'm sitting on the offer just underneath and above the 70 cent level, almost at $70. CGC is not getting to $70. Obviously, that'll be $10.70 on the way back in. Amazon, we were able to get some out there. It didn't quite get down into 184.40, 20, I should say, holding 184.40, seeing another higher low. Not necessarily what I want to see. So it's putting in a higher low. When I saw a better retracement in the overall market, my response to that is I'm going to punch out. So it's again putting in higher lows into Amazon. It's up 3%. I just feel like, I mean, CGC is breaking the bottoms and going lower. This might be working, but it's still putting in some higher lows. And I look over at a couple of things that had pulled back and looked a little bit better. I'm going to, again, move the trail a little bit higher on Square. It's either it gets to 70 at this point, I might as well put it at 90s or right in front, or we're just gonna hang on. I had it at 40s, I moved to 50s, now moving it up to 65s on Block. They report after the bell, likely to be a highly volatile name, especially given the investigation, or I guess it was more than investigations, it was actually like charges. Or accusations, I should say,
Yeah, we'll
already. And we'll see. I'm sure they're going to comment on it in the call. But it's up 4% now. Bit of a relief rally happening on Block.
Yeah, today's expectations for Block, which comes out at 405, 72 cents expected EPS right now. Revenue of 5.7 billion with an expected move of 12%. I mean, here's the movers and shakers right now. This is page 2.
Oh, never mind.
There's so many stocks today, actually, guys. So as you'll go, let me just refresh. Every time, this page always gets stuck. Honestly, you have to refresh it and you go back. Okay, there it is. So
it's terrible.
Apple today, obviously, right there. Very, very minimal move, but should have an impact. I think Apple will be the one that blows like the move out the water. I think it's going to move much more than that one way or the other. I feel like the options will be off on that one. Conoco, I was just trying to find out like bigger ones for moving there. Mercado Libre, we always get questions about that. That's a very expensive stock. Parker Hannifin, who cares? Coinbase is right here at 11%. Downside there for Coinbase. Not downside, but that's what they're expected. Monster Beverage, which I know a lot of people own as well. That's coming through. Moderna here.
Oh, no.
TD Bank probe. See ya, TD Bank. So there it goes, man. In
Fentanyl.
Canada, they ain't going to play in Canada, I don't think. TD Bank, a nice move back down in here into $58 for TD. But again, nice move from 56, just underneath that 50 period. We saw this was an awesome opportunity to buy a name like Morgan Stanley when they had that drop down for the same reason. This is
similar.
Sorry, not same reason. Yeah, similar reason, obviously. Wealth management, different, completely different actually. But similar movement, sorry, is what I meant, where we got all the way in, I'll show it to you right here, boom, and then right into some support, and then bought right back up with good earnings. That was the Morgan Stanley trade, this move right there on a probe. And that's apparently what this is. And I remember making jokes about that. But there it is, TD Bank flush there and right back up. So again, you have to be careful with algos and stuff like that, because when they start hearing that kind of stuff, they say, oh, they're getting probed into their financial, this and that. And then it was something about fentanyl.
Yeah, it was something about
money is that?
fentanyl profits and
Yeah,
possibly like
I feel like
probably
that's a
money
little
laundering.
bit better than though, like investigating like one of your wealth departments or something.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as bad as Morgan Stanley, to be sure. But TD's had a rough time of it. That is the bank. Okay, I actually own shares of 2 banks in Canada, but my bank is CIBC, and I've owned that one a long time. I haven't bought CIBC in over a decade, but I have bought TD several times in the last few years, and it's not been great. The only good sign is that if you've been buying in the low 50s, it's been bouncing there. The unfortunate problem is every bounce has been a little bit more shallow, which actually stinks if you are looking at a longer term chart. But there's support on this stock at 55 and has been for quite some time. But back into what we are involved in, if that had moved more to the downside, I think maybe like a really big move like Morgan Stanley did, I think there'd be a trade there on TD. But that barely even broke VWAP. So I don't think there's necessarily a trade there, and it doesn't seem like it's serious. We reloaded CGC. It didn't break 70, so I didn't really get all of it up there. We'll see what happens. If it breaks 1050, we want to hold on to some. Market is trying to come back, but I just noticed Nvidia wants 860. And I feel like it was the right decision because Amazon's continuing to creep higher, just higher lows into this. So I think it's the right decision to get out of the way of Amazon. So the only thing I'm now short is CGC, which is pretty much off the lows of the day at this point. What else we got going? You guys tell me what you're watching here, if there's something else that we're not seeing. I know GameStop had some movements. I feel as if we didn't know what the news was, but I did hear Adara say something about Trump possibly commenting on naked short selling in a general sense. And I suppose that could be like GME, AMC adjacent, some logic. But again, I don't really know the story for why GameStop's up 11%. Seems to me, and we'll zoom in here on the daily, you've got a pretty decent double top here that it's already starting to fade. So that was on the daily right at this $12 level. If it were to fail it again, that looks like a nice little retracement opportunity on GameStop. It is a level right in here. Actually, just last week, it was at 1220 and turnaround. You got a 1225 lower high as well. So CGC is the only thing that I've reloaded at this point. Trailing stops on Neo and Square, both the longs I'm in.
All right, I'll take a shot here on TD. I'll short it right now. We're just shorted here at 89. I punched it. I'll wait for a little bit more if that's possible to come through. But for right now, yeah, CGC, we'll just wait on it. CGC, TD, and we'll wait to see because there is something about it. We'll just, okay, well, it just went down a little bit there for us. Just a quick little blip right there, downside for TD coming back in. So that's 58.70 was a little bit of a bottom spot there.
It was drugs news. So.
Yeah, maybe there was the drugs that got me going there. All right, Tesla's still $1. There's TD, so we'll watch out for this again. Money laundering is what they're looking at to illicit fentanyl products.
Yeah, washing that money through the laundromat, sneak attack.
Yeah, I guess when they washed it through the laundromat, some fentanyl came out or something, and they figured that out. So they're caught, and we'll figure out what exactly that means heading into the close. With only a half hour left, we're not really putting on too many shares here of anything. Oh, Starbucks just broke, so we'll stay positive on Starbucks today, but there's the break higher, and we said that we weren't going to average into this name. We took one right there at 98 and out at O's, of course, and then as soon as we get out, it drops right back in, putting us into a profit position from that trade, but not anymore. All right, Apple's at its last straw. It's right at that last wick. Look at that trade. We finally go short right here, decent spot. You can see my average price now is 05. Looks like we're going to take it out. I just wanted to try this up to 173.20 or so. Let's see if it can kick in for us now. It's Apple. We're out of the money 10 cents. We're giving this 20 cents. So my price is 05, yeah, so a break of 20, and we're going to get out. That was basically, if we sort of zoom back out here for Apple. I just wanted to give it some room. I mean, there it is, we're out. There's that wick right there. So unfortunately, takes out the highs, probably falls back in now, but I'm going to be done with Apple. We shorted it enough. We got hit early. We made some back, and then just right there, it took out the highs with the market doing nothing. But again, there goes Apple. We just got stopped out at 20. We got 21s. So, yep, 21. So not bad. A little bit of a pullback, but that was a fail stock for me right there. Apple. You know, we didn't win on it early. We probably should have stayed away, but we liked it in the earnings there. That's Apple. Hopefully we'll get it back, but not on that stock.
Nvidia just keeps going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. 3.5% to the upside. It's crazy. Like that's the thing that's actually breaking higher. I was looking over myself, like what's breaking the top as the market gets to higher.
Oh, no.
It was definitely Nvidia. CGC just tacked 1050 again. And so I'm going to hold it through the break, and then the next consolidation, maybe look for another short. And on my iPad, I actually, just for myself, I just wrote TD, make decision. Because on that news, it's like, I've owned that stock for a while. It's not trending all that well.
No.
It could have that money in an ETF or something else, or just put it into the queue. So I'm going to make a decision on TD this week. I haven't looked at that daily chart enough to see that it's even worse than I thought it was doing. And you don't necessarily want to see that in your long-term holdings, but I try not to look daily at a chart. You don't look at charts in your long-term holdings every single day. You'll drive yourself nuts, 100%. So Nvidia does feel like it is going to be the one. If it could hold 860, I'd say maybe there's like a quick little let's scalp along. But the first thing I see when I pull back to it is it's pulling right back and trying to fail that level. That is not a bullish move. And if we fail 860 here, I am going to take the money and run on Square. It is close enough, and I just saw like what looks like a topping tail candle on Nvidia. So I'm going to get out of Square, take that money and run. Neil's not doing anything. I'm not really worried about that. Shout out to you, Square. We'll ring the register. I have no idea what's going to happen aftermarket, but it definitely gave you VWAP in there for $1.30 to the upside. AV, TD Ameritrade, the bank. I actually like TD because it was a Canadian bank with U.S. exposure, so I felt like you got a little bit of the best of both worlds. But it has not been the one, is what it is there. Although, I don't know if you haven't been to the Dome yet. When I go to a Blue Jays game, they're certainly not pulling any punches with how much they're sponsoring the Blue Jays and the presence that you get in there.
Yeah.
Like really? Like, am I walking into, it's all green everywhere, and they have like all kinds of TD stuff all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally called Scotiabank Arena.
Oh, what?
I'm saying Scotiabank, like.
No, I'm talking about like.
No, I know you're talking about Rogers Center, but I'm saying like bank sponsoring.
Yeah,
like,
it's a big. Yeah, they all do it.
Yeah, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars it is to name right where the Raptors and Leafs play, which will be playing tonight. Sans Austin Matthews, but
didn't need him last time.
Yeah, hopefully. I think they have a good record without him, so we'll see.
I saw that. It was like 35-19 and something without the best player, which is just. I mean, I get it. Sometimes like they'll rally the troops, they focus and all that stuff, but it does.
I feel like some of that is random too. But
yeah, like it seems like it could just maybe it's the opponent. I have no idea.
Who knows?
Let's just hope they win it. Let's go Leafs.
Yeah, let's go Leafs for sure. All right, so just as we go, we are in that TD Bank. We did get more intel up there against 50. We're short 46s. Let's put a bid here at 43. What just happened at 44? What's happening at 44 here? All right, we'll put a bid at 43. 44 is going back and forth here a little bit. I don't know what that was all about. It's 332 right now. I'm not hearing. My earpiece is working completely fine. I'm just not hearing anything news-wise about any kind of moves happening right now. So as this market continues to go, just going back and forth a little bit here. I got back into Apple. I mean, we just lost 20 cents. We're short again at 14s. Trying to bid out, taking 10, 15 cents back in here, but not really great news here for Apple today for me. But that's that. TD Bank is going to be a big play if it goes down. We've averaged into it right now. We're short at 91. I have a bid here, 77 and change on this name. So let's see if that can do something for a downside push right now. All right, I heard, what's up, Ozan? Hero? Oh, I don't know what you're saying there. Yeah, no, I'm in a good mood. Here comes TD Bank right now. I have just a raging headache. Like I sleep like 3 or 4 hours a night, it seems like these days. All right, let's see what happens right now. Downside move, 58.92 coming into play. That's where we're short. We just got to fill. I think what price was that at? That was at 83, 84, now whatever. Hopefully we get, okay, Apple, come to the party, baby. I mean, we haven't gotten out enough when this kind of stuff, when this kind of a trade has happened. So let's just do it right now and get some more out here. If the market falls into the close like we did the last couple days, then good for that. But let's just hold out now for Apple. Maybe this is the one that wants to come back in here into close for us. Apple making all that money back, man. just on this one move. Apple going downside right now, 30 pennies in the money. Remember before, man, we've seen some of these names get cracked going into close, and we'll see if this happens again. Look, we got stopped out right there. We made the high of the day twice on Apple, by the way, just right now, and we made the high of the day back here. So we made it there, and it was the high until 3 hours later, and then we just made the high again. Remember, I have a fill on Apple at 173.21. The high is 173.22. All right, Intel downside. Hopefully we'll get that filled. TD Bank going downside right now, and Tesla now $1 in the money. Let me get some more out here at TD.
That's what you got to do. Take those profits where they lie. Oh, I didn't hear the story on this ATGE. It was kind of hard. Benzing is not loud enough sometimes. But I don't know, volume spike on ATG. I'll see it when it comes across. But it's decent, but the volume's pretty, you know what, 340,000 on the day. CGC continues to make some fresh lows here. It just wicked the 1050 and got down to 1040, so it's continuing to fall. Lower highs all the way through. There hasn't been a big consolidation or anything like that just yet. I jumped out of block, and then it goes higher because why not? It seems to still be squeezing. We're able to get 75s out as that continues to go higher and higher and higher. As mentioned, NEO. If NEO gets underneath 560, I'll just be out of it. I'm going to pull my bid, which was sitting around VWAP. At this time of day, do not need to be getting into a Chinese ADR. You can hold on to it, but you don't want to enter new trades in Chinese ADRs at this time, I don't think. Early look, not much. You have Pfizer, which is a sell of 666,000. No other names. Verizon's always going to pair off. Only in play Pfizer because they just recently had a bit of a move. NS. Again, don't even know what that is, 4 million to sell. We'll let you guys know at 350 if there's any big ones. There have been big imbalances on some big cap tech names the last couple of days. We've seen it on Amazon, we've seen it on Apple. Would not be surprised if we were to see it one more time here. It's the beginning of the month, so you have window dressing at the end of last month, and some of that reverts at the end of the day for the first couple of days of the new month. So we're hanging on to CGC. It's underneath 1050. I'm looking at probably 1020 is the exact level where this bottomed out yesterday. So if it gets there, I'm out of the trade. Bit of a flat bottom break. We had to pay for locates on this, but they were less than 1 cent per share. Thank you, Real Trading. We pretty much always have locates. Sometimes you got to pay a penny or so, or a little bit less than that. Where is Amazon?
I don't know why I was
Muted?
I was muted, but I don't know why. I'm just tweeting this out here because I want to get this out to viewers. Like, not only do we have, these trades, but we also have, breaking news that hits every once in a while. And I'm here to trade those plays. And we did it right here for you on TD Bank. And again, putting it right into a spot that we like. And it's a good trade now back into the bottom here. This is going to be P&L number like 3 for the show or something like that. And we just put this on. So, let's just continue. I'll punch some more out there at 62. You can see some trades happening there at 62. Let's get some more out. Here comes Intel. Here comes Intel too, by the way, hopefully. We do have now $1.21 in the money now. Apple is doing, I'd like to say as we thought it would, but just didn't happen early enough. Oh, I know what it was. I was gonna go get a water because we're out of this, and I have, like I was saying, a little bit of a headache. So let's put a bid right there at 91, and hopefully we'll get some out. As we've made a lot back here in the afternoon, things going not just according to plan, but much better than planned because I did not expect this gift of a short here on TD Bank. Miss Adara.
Part of the show is brought to you by Trade Ideas. You can get real-time scanning and alerting used at our desk by many of our traders every single day and see what's moving in the moment with Trade Ideas. You can check out the link in the description to get 20% off thanks to Trade Ideas.
And thank you, Adara there. Yeah, watch out. This market is starting to reverse. We've seen it almost every single day this week where you're dumping into, dumping is a strong word, where you're seeing profit taking when we're strong, or you're just seeing a rollover into the close. The story is the NASDAQ here, making it to those highs, not even sniffing the Powell tops. A few individual names did. Nvidia got there, Amazon got there, but the overall market did not even get close. The good news for the market held on to that, let's call it the Fed bottom or yesterday's lows, but you are seeing a bit of a pullback. I'd be a little bit curious because right at this open, We held 17.6. So I would think that there should be some buyers in there whenever we had that opening range top, support turning into resistance, resistance turning into support. The last short we put on is going to be CGC with about 20 minutes to go. I don't want this getting back into break even. I had my stop at 75. I have not moved it just yet. I think if it gets above 50, I'm gonna get out. Donnie Zimbabwe, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. Nvidia retraced below 860 and down or continue upside. Well, it didn't, I mean, it already retraced. Let me just pull it up for you here. Thank you for the super chat. Oh yeah, it's really just back and forth. Here, the issue with Nvidia is, what did we just show you? The NASDAQ pulling back, Amazon pulled back, Tesla pulled back, Apple pulled back. I could probably name a bunch of other things that are actually dipping and putting in lower highs and showing you continuation. Nvidia's not one of them. My entire mantra is whatever the strongest stock is, that's not the one that I would be looking for the short. So yes, it's at a decision point where it cannot seem to go higher or much higher, but there's much weaker names that are pulling back more. Like I got out of Amazon when it was putting in higher lows because that's just my trading strategy. If I go to the same level a couple times and it's putting in higher lows, I don't necessarily like trying to fight it that third, fourth time. That pulled back. That's very different from what you see happening in Nvidia. Let's look at AMD. I don't know if this is true. Look at AMD. AMD much weaker, nowhere near those highs. Pulling back and not really showing you strength to even get back into the highs. So it's showing you reasons why it's not really as strong. If you're thinking short back underneath 860, is there potential in Nvidia? Yes. That said, it seems to me like you'd be trying to short or betting on a retracement in the strongest thing that I'm looking at right now. So like I think you got to be a little bit careful when you're with something like that. Like, there's other trades that you can put on. I think Tesla was probably a better one. There was news on TD. CGC was literally at the low of the day when other stocks are at the highs. So you're going to get some other opportunities out there to be sure. Thomas Briganti, what's up with GameStop? Why is it up 11%? I don't know either. We have kept our ear to the ground. There was some weird speculation. I shouldn't call it weird. We heard that it might have actually been something to do with Trump. I don't know how much sense that makes overall. But a squeeze is a squeeze, and it doesn't matter sometimes the reason why. GameStop is taking out some pretty key levels on the daily. My approach is, generally speaking, if I like a short in the stock, then tomorrow maybe I look at 13.5, somewhere in here, or like 15, 16 bucks. And if you're looking for a squeeze long, it just has to hold 12 quarter. In order to squeeze, I tend to think that stocks have to break out new price areas. Right? So if something has to actually break to the high side, and when it doesn't happen, or it retraces, you get something like this, which was not that difficult, except loading the stock is on my charts, and that's CGC. It flat bottom broke. We like flat bottom breaks around here. And then it broke again at 1050. It's never really went against you. I was short at the 70 level. It might have gone like 1 or 2 cents at the most. We took some out there at the 50 level. We reloaded it, took some out at 50s again, and held for what our target was going to be, which is 1020. Simple trade. At the end of the day, CGC, SSR again. So that means, today was day 2 SSR. Tomorrow's going to be day 3. It'll be 3 days in a row where it's short sell restricted. Holding the 10 level would be pretty cool, or if it gets down to like $8, it's in play for an SSR bounce for the 3rd day in a row, or so for the 2nd day in a row. But I'm imagining all of these have started to give it back up. Tilray back down to like $2. It's down 10% from some highs. So there we go. I'm now flat. I don't see myself putting any new positions on unless something happens with the bounce.
Oh man, I mean, it's crazy. Normally we'll try to go flat as well, but the amount of damage that we put on here in the afternoon has been ridiculous. Look at TD Bank. Boom go, that's SMH. Look at TD Bank. Here we go, baby. Let's go. Let's spin it up, man. This is a double your pleasure trade. I mean, our stop was 59. So here we go, 7 or 8 cents of risk to be banking 65, 70 cents right now. Yes, please. That's been a good one. Look at Intel. We told you we love trading Intel over here. And look what we're trying to do right now. Putting it exactly on the board, man. That's the trade right there for Intel. Like, we'll all have like P&L worst stock, P&L Apple, but as far as the top ones, man, like what's been happening this afternoon? TD Bank ripping up there. We now got $1 and change on the money in Tesla. Starbucks was a beaut, but we got stopped out, still positive on it. What can we do about that one? We just talked about Intel. Is Alibaba giving it back up to the upside? No, or to the downside, yes. Not going back up to the upside right there for that name. And then here comes Apple, baby. We just take another fill on Apple as we turn all bearish. We don't have any longs on the board right now. Intel, the dime piece. Let's put another bid out here for Intel, see if we can get that fill, and then flip it over immediately over to TD Bank and see what's going on over there. 58.30. Hopefully we get a lot lower on TD Bank. Man, this has been a good afternoon, and I just want to thank everybody for watching. Like, this is, honestly, we put out some risk here this afternoon, and, you know, well traded this afternoon. It's too bad that we will not, like I've already said this already, we've got Sharif and one other positive trader here today. It's been a little difficult, I feel like. Day after Fed, a little bit in up and down. The futures did give you some good opportunities early, and I'm embarrassed to say that I'm red because we did talk about this 17.4. We have stocks, I mean, the sticky note is littered with ideas that you'd look down and say you made your month on. And I know some of you already have in the chat on stocks like Alibaba and Microsoft. But at the same time, that's what trading is, man. It doesn't always go exactly as scripted, but Tesla is. Tesla was a great bottom down there, 178, great top, 181.50. Huge move here for us to the downside now for Tesla, $1.50 in the money, and we are spinning it this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching one more time here. This is Trader TV Live, and I'm doing the best I can to give you guys all of these trades and explain them. Right? I'm not just putting them on because we need to have trades on, because we don't. I'm putting them on because I'm trying to make money, and that's what we've done here this afternoon, live for you guys here on the show, giving you multiple dollars. Look, if you like the little trades, I mean, Intel's a great trade. Like I said, we put it in our pocket and we're making cash on it. But 10, 15 cent trade, that's for you. $1.50, this is for you. News-based trade, this is for you. Apple, earnings-based trade, I mean, we're all over the place right now, but it's all making a little bit of cash. We're in 4 positions, and it's working out, man. Keep going. I'm not going anywhere, so that number can go up or down. We'll be here tomorrow.
200. We're close.
Thank you,
we're getting
Judge.
there. I think we have a good chance to get there. I want to shout out, it was Adam DeLuz in the chat. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother, in there. Ready to smash NFP. We didn't even talk about that. One step at a time. We have a number tomorrow morning for NFP, but there's a market to trade this afternoon, and there's big-time earnings aftermarket before you get to that, right? Like, let's not sleep on Apple, Coinbase, Square, Block. I mean, you have a whole litany. DraftKings, we didn't even mention DraftKings. I don't think we did, but thank you in the chat for a couple people mentioning that and reminding us. You just got to try to pick your spots, man. Like, I came in, I'm not going to pretend. I came in today. I got about half back in this afternoon, but I came in today with 2 things on my mind as my best stocks, or the best ideas, I should say.
This afternoon, what was the big trade this afternoon?
No. It came in today thinking there were 2 things that would be with the best. And they were Alibaba, had the long 3 times, and I'm down on it. Sometimes that happens. And it was Carvana, which flat out didn't do anything insane. So I'm red on both those stocks. At the end of the day, I knew they would be ones that I wanted to trade. It just doesn't always have to be the way it was. But keep in mind, the trend is always going to be your friend. There's some serious. Fortinet's also reporting tonight. You read about that, nice skin. But the trend is always going to be your friend. Key levels are always going to be important. Following your rules is going to be important. Like, I could have still been in Amazon. Obviously, it's going to end up working out. I decided to get out of it and go back over to CGC. I did, while all this was happening, get out of NEO. But remember, NIO was from VWAP at like 11 o'clock. And it just didn't hold on to 560. So NEO did pull back, and there was a question earlier, do I think NEO was a good buy? And my only response was, it's at least now putting a roundy face and is going to close above the 50-period moving average. From a technical standpoint, at least it's finally doing something remotely bullish. The last time it did this, it gave you like $8 to almost $10. If it does something similar, maybe you can get back to like 6.5, 7. So I'm at least long biased in the short term for NEO as a day trade. I don't feel remotely any conviction about this the same way I would consider Alibaba. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm pretty convicted about Alibaba. Okay, so let's take some more out on Intel. Bang, 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 bang. Honestly, I mean, this has been quite a good trade there for me on this on Intel. So we don't trade Intel often, but when we do, we trade it well, I feel like. So good trade there for Intel. Let's just wait on that one. A very, very green name there. All right. Oh, this was the level that I was looking at because I don't really have a stop up here for Apple because we've gotten out of so many shares on the downside. I canceled that stop in case 350 came, but now 350 is here, and we're already just shot. Like, look at that out. Like, we just shot right back up into this level, into the imbalances. So I'm going to just reload a little bit of this right now and then just see if, do we just, no, we got it, okay. Just to see, I'm going to give this up to 173.50. With imbalances coming out, I do understand that this is very, very dangerous and we're not using too many shares. We may even get stopped out before these imbalances come out right now. So let's be careful with that one. As here we go to the upside comes Apple. Looks like we'll probably have some buy imbalances coming in 10 seconds. Apple trying to get a little spicy up here north side. But we're in it. Let's see what happens here with Apple in just 5 seconds away.
Yeah, imbalances in 5 seconds or so. If you're trading TD, that's dual listed, so there'll be an imbalance in both markets, and I'll let you know. I have it up just in case. TLT is the biggest, 6.4 million to the buy side for the 10-year. RY, that's Royal. Who cares? I was looking for TD. Plug is a sell of $1 million. No big names in here. BAC. Show me. Qualcomm is at least there for 500,000. I'm not seeing any of the big cap tech names anywhere. We'll get the overall. The overall number is 131 million to the buy side.
You know, we just killed this TD trade.
Adara?
Nordstrom here popping up on volume up about 6%. A couple minutes ago coming out here as reported by Reuters that Sycamore Partners is among one of the private equity firms vying to take Nordstrom private, according to sources and as reported by Reuters. Couple months ago now, it did come out as well that Nordstrom was reportedly looking to go private. So just an update there. Sycamore Partners, one of the companies looking to take this one private, guys.
All right,
Yeah, TD did come out a sell.
I did want to say something. Yeah, TD was, I mean, Neil, that was honestly, that's probably the trade right there for me of the day. Simple trade. We gave this one 10 cents worth of risk to make 90 cents, honestly. I mean, and that was live right here. Look, no matter what happens around here, this is what it means to me. You may be red on your end, but very much green with all the people you've helped trade and take us to the green. So for me, for you, Yoel, thank you so much, because that means a lot. I put that in our chat here, and I just think that that is really what drives the show here, right? To be honest about what we are. That's why we say you can ask us red, green, whatever you want, because I feel like that's the best. Be honest. About what your month was, anything like that. We talked about we had 4 or 5 red days last month, and we're going to look to see if we can beat that here. Not a great start, but TD Bank is really helping it out. Let's put it that way. You know, we've made a lot of money back here. We will still be red because I'm not going to take any too crazy trades here. But look what just happened to Apple. Again, you want to talk about real trading? Every single trade that we've put on here this afternoon has been pretty well discussed, pretty well booked out, giving you very, very easy ins and outs for everything here today. Like this TD Bank trade, you're sitting at home, you could put this on. Like, why? I hope you guys did. I mean, we talked about what the problem was there. Boom to the downside. Again, if you're going to sit here and trade that trade right there, I haven't traded TD Bank ever. And we all heard the news. And again, fortune favors the bold, and that's why we take that trade. So that's a good one. Intel, like I said, I'm just going to get out. I got to go over to the desk. So hopefully we don't crank too much lower than where we are right now. But hey, Apple, we almost made the majority of that first error back just by being patient and being sitting here and able to take these positions. So I'm really happy with this, man, and also happy with this $1.50 in the money right now on Tesla. So there it is, man. One in, one out. Like one in on TD, one in here on Tesla. A couple, basically 2 ins on Intel.
Those are those are the best trades of both trades.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
and
the single entrance or like the reaction, and you pick your spot.
Yeah.
It's like grip it and rip it. Look for the fastball or the curve or whatever it is, and then just try to like hit the ball hard.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that respect there. Okay, look at this. Goldcrest Financial right now, $20. You are welcome for that TD news. But again, we are sponsored by Benzinga Pro. And I had it in my ear, and that was that. As soon as we heard that, we crushed that Morgan Stanley trade. Basically, you make the month on a trade like that. So when it happens again, I'm going to do it one more time. And that's what it's all about. So that was it, man. Apple down. I mean, Apple's a monster trade too, guys. This is 50 cents in the money. TD is now $1 in the money and going lower. Let's cover another piece right here and just see. I got to get over to the desk, but I just love trading too much. Tesla, let's just put a bid out. It's now 355. Did we even talk about what that number was? 131 to buy.
It was literally nothing. It was the smallest imbalance we've seen in at least a couple of weeks. So I would say it was like a huge nothing burger. That said, after the bell, and I forget what time you said it was going to be. I know Apple's going to be a little bit later, but Coinbase just went a little bit parabolic there. There was no imbalance here that I saw. Simply Coinbase continued the rally that it was already doing, punching to the top. And this is sort of what I was talking about with Nvidia. When you're looking at the strongest stock, yeah, is there a resistance level here? Sure there is, but this stock's going higher and higher and higher. At 356,
you like
Toronto
that one,
stocks
boys?
often have a little bit of a pairing event on the imbalance there. It's a little bit different from the New York. So in about 1 minute, you might see a bit of a move on TV because it's dual listed and it's a sell imbalance in Toronto. So that's just going to throw that one out there.
Yeah, you may see just a little bit of a move. We'll see what happens. It just does break $58 right there. It is a brand new dollar club on a loaded up position. We just made our whole afternoon right there, and with Apple and with Tesla. Tesla now $2 in the money, trying to go down. It just went down to one. Like, come on. Let's go. We do have Miss Danielle Shea coming through today. You want to talk about your day getting a hell of a lot better? It's about to get a lot better because you're going to see me. You're going to see not yet. We got me. We got Adara. We've got Miss Danielle Shea coming through tonight on the recap show. And on Apple earnings, let's ramp that up, baby. What's up, eh?
Another earnings name here to watch out for, making a move before the close. Expedia, EXPE, set to report tonight. Not seeing an imbalance on this one, but getting a move here ahead of those earnings tonight is worth noting. We have about a 5% short flow on EXPE, guys.
There's so much to look at. We already talked about bookings going to be there as well. It wasn't just Coinbase. It looks like it was everything crypto related. Square just went another 60 cents higher. So Square's now 5% up. So this, Coinbase, I'm going to imagine, it actually is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still at 59 too, as I look over at Sean's screen. But both these are making some power moves late into earnings. And we've seen this before. Just because it's going up into earnings doesn't mean somebody knows something. We've seen the old dipsy-do and the reversal. I'm expecting fireworks on both this and Coinbase. It doesn't mean we're 100% trading them tomorrow. But there's, like, the same way I came in today liking Alibaba and liking Carvana. I promise you tomorrow morning I'm going to come in with a lot to think about on Coinbase and Square. It doesn't mean they'll be the best trades, but I know they're the first place I'm going to be looking. And I think as long as you start with that, you should be absolutely fine. You can always execute better. Like I said, we're able to find some things that worked in the afternoon, but the morning could have been a heck of a lot better. I'm staring at you, Alibaba. Coinbase breaks 240 today, and it has some moonshot ability. That's not even a term. Neil, Apple, please. You went over Apple, but I wanted to get to this stock because of the question JP Swade asking about Boeing. Boeing is another name that is absolutely mooning to the upside, and it's about time for Boeing. This is now not one step up, it's 2 steps up, and guess what? It just broke a resistance level for the first time in quite some time. This is now on a bit of a collision course with the 50-period moving average. It is a flat-out breakout trade through 180 potentially tomorrow. All it has to do is hang on for dear life. That said, it's a Friday. We've seen what these stocks can do at the end of the day. But I like you, Boeing. I've been waiting for just no bad news for a while, which they haven't really accomplished that because there was another whistleblower that died. That said, it is still breaking out a top. I did say I wanted no bad news on the stock. And look, maybe it could be anything. I'm not trying to be tinfoil hat about this with Boeing. I don't know the story here or natural causes, who knows. We're not here to speculate. We're here to trade price action. And what I can tell you is this is breaking out on the daily. So I'm with anybody that thinks we should be looking for this to fly tomorrow. As long as it can hold on to this top, I think we've got some serious potential for Boeing to get back on its feet. Or, you know what, get back in the air, back on its feet. Get back in the air and actually be what everyone thinks it can be, which is the only game in town. It's not that hard, Boeing. It's you or Airbus.
All right, let's do this.
That's all you got to do is not stink for a little bit, and you're back above $200. Say this is a Boeing shareholder. With 1 minute to go in here, the NASDAQ is trying to hold on to after a bit of a pullback. It's going to end up that 1%. It's going to be Coinbase and Square that I care about. I'll be watching Coin. Obviously, Apple's a big deal, but remember, Apple is one of the later reporting names, so you don't usually get them till 4:15. Expecting we'll see Coinbase and Block report, and now we just saw Coinbase pull back, only 9% now. It just dropped about $3 going into the close, but that was such a monster run. Coinbase bottom to top 2 days in a row, $20 going into earnings. In 2 sessions, you had $40 worth of movement on Coinbase. So this is going to be the most volatile name, in my humble opinion. And I don't care up, down, round, or round. This is the first place I'm looking for potential trades tomorrow. But you know what you got to do here? It's almost showtime for those explosive earnings. So let's get the camera off me. Throw it on over the bell. We got less than 10 seconds left. Adair is locked and loaded, and then she's sprinting back to the desk in 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. And there we go. Don't want to delay too long here. I want to shout out, of course, every single time Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s doing a fantastic job. You were learning all about gappers and runners all week long on Learn to Trade. Adara and Sharif doing a fantastic job. Sharif doing a great trading job, and even testing things out in the pre-market so that he could help you guys with all of your trading journey. You know what's good. Frank did his best to pump the market up. And after, we got the shorts that were able to work. So all the best. Appreciate you, Frank, and appreciate you, Brent. Another fantastic interview. Post-Fed, getting some info. Nothing yet on Coin, but remember, you got Coinbase, you got Square, you got DraftKings, you've got Apple, you've got all the earnings, and you've got them right now at the desk with Sean and Adair. It's your market recap show.
Oh, it's all gone.
All right, hopefully it goes up there. I'm muted. We're ready to go. It's the recap show. Thank you so much for watching as we are now ready to rock and roll. The spiders, everything going. We've got AMZN is already out. We've got Expedia out. Apparently, Ramin has just booked a vacation on Expedia, and I was trying to find out where. EXPE coming through because we saw what happened to Wingstop, right? We said we were going to order some Wingstop.
She has powers.
She does, a
She's
lot of them.
Yeah.
Expedia right now, nice move all the way up and all the way down. Back to 135 right now. What numbers you have for Expedia right now?
Yeah, so I'm seeing they beat adjusted net income, $29 million here. Q1 net income, negative $135 million. Q1 revenue here, 2.88 billion versus expected 2.80 billion. So they did beat on revenue here from what I can see. Adjusted earnings per share coming in higher than expected as well. Surprise profit, 21 cents versus the expected loss of 24 cents. So it seems like these numbers seem pretty positive from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, okay, good. It looks like it too. Right now, Expedia up 5%. The expected move for Expedia, 9%. So nice move to the upside. We'll have to hold on to see what's going on right now with Expedia. We do have Square coming out very, very soon. 405 expected, EPS of 72 cents. Looking for a 12% move on Square. Nice run into the close for SQ. Flipping it over to the daily stock right there for Square. You're going to see been beat up, man. We talked about some of that laundering issues right there. Look what was up today, man. K-Web, shout out to China. We do have the sector recap right here today for you. There's the triple Qs up a nice 1.28%. The NASDAQ leading the way today. Look at SMH, man, up over 2%, led to you by Nvidia. Just a quick little heat map before we go. Shout out to Michael Noss building me all this stuff, man. This has been fantastic. This heat map, though, is trading view. Look at Amazon. Get my face off there if you can. We'll have to look to see what's over down here because we've got Apple. We've got Nvidia up 3%. Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon. I mean, all the big dogs leading the way. Your favorite, potentially, Eli Lilly down 3, J&J down a little bit as well. Not much else red today, man. ConocoPhillips right there, and PH, not Pfizer. ConocoPhillips to the downside right there. Pfizer, I believe, was down in here. No, Pfizer
it was up.
Up 2% there. Oh, that's right. We got that Josh Brown bump right there. Okay, again, thank you so much for watching. We are going to be hammering all of these earnings as they come out. Over 4,600 of you watching. We do have it says Shannon on there. It is Miss Danielle Shea coming through today. So we got to get that fixed out, and we'll do that in 1 second. Throw it over to Adair, and I'll go fix that.
Yeah, we're waiting for a lot of different earnings here. So just to give everyone a rundown of where things are expected to come, we're expected to get Block here, SQ 405, Coinbase at 415, US Steel X at 415 here, DraftKings coming at 4:25 p.m., Apple coming at 4:30. So there's some of the main ones. We're getting Monster Energy as well. So quite a few names that were worth checking up and keeping an eye on heading into the rest of the night here. Apple at 4:30 being the key one, but we should be getting Block in about, like 50 seconds, 40 seconds? So keep an eye on that for sure here. Right now, though, what else is happening? Coin out. People are saying, let
people
me
looks
check
like
on
Coinbase is out right now.
We got Square, we got Block.
Okay, so we got Coinbase right now. Let's just look at Coinbase quickly. Coinbase right now, nice move up to 240, still trying to go as well. It's Coinbase, nice upside move. It is Square with a downside move right now. It looks like Coin is a beat here on revenue. We will get those numbers in a minute. The expected look for Coinbase was an EPS of 1.2 with revenue of 1.2 billion as well. I felt like Coinbase does have a good chance to beat today due to the fact that, hey, I figured revenues would be up with all the transacted moves there in Bitcoin with the halvening, with some up and down moves, but right now it looks like Adara, Coinbase is making that move to the downside right now. I don't see the exact numbers.
I got the numbers
on
for Coinbase.
Benzinga. Okay, what do we have there?
So we do have adjusted EBITDA here, $1 billion versus 618 million expected. So that is a decided beat here. We have Q2 revenue guidance here, subscription service revenue between $525 to $600 million. They did have Q1 net income here coming in $1 billion versus $302 million expected. So that is quite the beat. So it looks like they beat across the board from what I'm seeing. Also came out like 10 minutes before the earnings as well, saying that there was a delay apparently with their services. So that's kind of an ongoing thing here. Yeah. And yeah, that's the main numbers we have here. Just waiting to see everything else come in. But nice projection there. It looks like they beat.
Okay, Booking.com is out again as well. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Thank you to Soup right there in the chat. Wow, Booking.com, huge move upside as well. I mean, if anybody's in this name, you are now broken out again. You are at 3,800, breaking out that top right now. Booking, nice move for that. Look at this on the after. Boom, nice move right back up to previous highs. There's Coinbase. So we nailed that Coinbase, by the way, like that talk of where we thought it was potentially going to report. And there it is right there. Total revenues were huge. I mean, that's all that we talked about. I have no idea where it's going to go, but total revenues 163 versus 134. I mean, that looks good to me. I feel like that is good. GoDaddy out now as well. Apparently, GDDY, a little bit of a reduction in its labor force being announced now as well for GoDaddy, but that's making the move. That's okay, I don't need that. Back down to the downside because Ramin showed me how to set up Zoom.
Okay, never mind.
Apparently, I just click on the icon.
Oh, okay, there you go.
It's really, it's...
I don't even think I set it up right, so...
All right, right here, there is Coinbase. Again, I just want to keep it on here because this is moving around a bit for us here on Coinbase. I thought I logged in. Oh, I did. Let's just see what the Coinbase level 2 looks like right now, just to get a quick look. So it looks like we're about $3 right now or so on Coinbase, 230 to 233, the movement now for a coin. Up 10%, but flat basically on this move, right? I mean, we closed up 9%. Looks like that's right where we are right now for Coinbase. All right, Square still making moves to the downside as well. I'm hearing that. Wow, $68. I mean, this is a big move there for Square. You already went over those numbers, didn't you?
No, I thought we got them. We haven't gotten them quite yet.
Yeah, I don't see the numbers for Square.
They were supposed to come out by now, so that's a bit surprising. If
maybe they're out, maybe they're not. Yeah, I don't know if whoever president is going to matter as far as earnings are concerned, but if you're going to look at oil and what was up or down today, we had gold was one of the only sectors down today. GLD down 0.3%. XLB, of course, we've looked this at the other day. The materials sector has been getting hit to the downside right now as well. Another down day for these guys. XLV, the healthcare fund, downside. We saw some misses today with Lilly and J&J. Not misses, they didn't report, but some downside movement right there as well. We will be welcoming very, very soon Miss Danielle Shea to come through. And the reason why we're excited, not just for her to come out, but we have Apple coming out very, very soon. Hopefully that's going to be 4:30. We will have Apple out for you. And Block. Block is not out.
Block is late, yeah.
So Block is getting blocked right now. But that's generally not a good sign when earnings are going to get delayed. We saw everyone panicked. I don't think you were here yet. Palo Alto, which is PanW, they moved their earnings report to a Friday afternoon.
I was not there.
When's the last time you've seen earnings Friday afternoon?
Major? Never.
Right,
Never major
right.
earnings
Ed,
Friday.
good point there. Sometimes there are some real random ones, but not at PanW, and they absolutely crushed that quarter, so it went the other way. So people were nervous selling into that, thinking there was something
That's
wrong.
smart.
Is it smart? I don't know. I'm not really sure the reason why they did that.
That's true. Yeah, I think
The
I thought it
CEO,
was
I think,
strategic,
had a
probably
tea
not.
time or something, and they had to change it. Right there, Fortinet with a downside move today as well. People were looking at Fortinet today. Downside here, down 6%. Again, on a number. Bad guide, it looks like. EPS, 39 cents versus 40 for the guide for Fortinet. Trying to go down into $60 right now. Trying to find a base. FTNT down 7% right here, right now. I'm still looking in the chat to see if there's any other names that are potentially moving around. People talking Tesla, Adara.
Mercado Libre, I know, reported, and they beat across the board.
Okay, we can look at that. This is a very expensive stock.
Yeah, I saw some people mentioning MELI. That was the main reason. I was just thinking of it. But MELI, Mercado Libre, that one is a bit more expensive, but they did report a beat here. You can see we're moving up to that 16,000 level. We did actually apparently we're getting the block numbers. I'm not seeing them now. All I'm seeing is they have released them, but I'm not seeing these numbers. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I know Mercado Libre, though, we did beat for revenue and profit above expectations. So revenue, 4.3 bill versus 3.9 bill expected. That I know for sure. So nice move from Mercado Libre. Just waiting for those SQ numbers.
Operating out of South
America.
Perfect. All right, good one. All right, we're still waiting for U.S. Steel coming at 4:15. Letter X should be out soon. The name that, well, here's Square. So we're hearing that it's out, but I'm not seeing any numbers yet. And Square just doing a dance. It went up to 70, back down into 68. I know we are all patiently waiting for Square. If we can come to my screen here quickly, we'll just show you what, not yet. There we go, thank you. Square waiting for something to happen. So we'll wait to see if that's going on. Right now, just dancing around. Square was down on some news lately. Again, back and forth with some laundering issues right there. Coinbase does release a first quarter shareholder letter. I have no idea what's up with that, but here it is on Benzinga Pro. We could probably read this. Oh, a question and answer session coming Thursday, May 2nd at 2:30 Pacific. So at 5:30, we will get the conference call, or at least a Q&A for that. So we'll hear more about Coinbase as they do have their shareholder letter now out. Starbucks was a decent trade today. Maybe I'll ask Danielle a little bit about Starbucks and what's been going on with them. But there's Coinbase. I'm disappointed with Coinbase. I'm not in this name at all. I just honestly thought that with better revenues coming through, that this name would have been able to beat. If they can't do better with higher revenues, 1.6 versus 1.3 billion, to me that's a decent beat. We were talking a lot about Bitcoin there over the last quarter. We had the halving, we had the huge move, breaking recent and all-time highs up to 73,000. Now a nice pullback into 58. I don't know, Dara. We should be on a double shot here because I'm talking. I want to see. She's looking so nicely and so intently for a conversation. No, but a lot of talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We have the Ethereum Trust possibly switching over and starting to get some ETFs into that. I'm surprised that Coinbase has moved today.
Well, same, but also we had to move down on MicroStrategy, right? So but we had Riot blockchain as well getting a move up. So I think it really does seem to be very dependent. What I'm more interested in, I'm going to be honest with you, for crypto is next Thursday after market close. Marathon Digital, MARA, and CleanSpark. And CleanSpark had a massive earnings beat last quarter, profit versus a loss year over year. So CleanSpark, I'm super excited to see.
So Square, thank you, Adara. Yeah, that's good point there. Let's look at some of the miners. Square is now out again, apparently, But I can't like
Allegedly.
until we. Whoa! Okay, there's a nice little move up there for Square. You're gonna see this nowhere else, by the way. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and pass this on to every single person you know. Hey, even your kids. You know, it's better to watch this than some randoms playing video games and like unboxing things. Why do you want your kids to watch unboxing? We are giving education. This is financial literacy.
Yeah.
Happening live.
Right?
In front of you. So let's start, let's just keep educating. All right, there's Square again. This is why you got to watch out for those fat fingers, man. I mean, a big move to the upside there, $72, then a move back into 68. And let's just have a quick look at what Square, there's Coin, by the way, a little bit of a downside move. We had a lot of great trades today, especially in the afternoon, including Tesla. Okay, here we go. Reporting 85 cents versus 71 is what I'm hearing. 4 block. This is what it looks like right now. 70, 71.50, starting to go back up to the upside. There it is. There goes Square. 71, 72, $73. Square starting to go up 9%. Let's go, man. Hey, we don't hit this enough. It's breaking news. All right, that's enough. It's a nice move for Square. Nice move. $75. Wow. Okay, let me call up the chart so it looks a little bit better than what we got on right now. Square is absolutely going up to $74, $75. What does that look like on a daily chart? We still got to get above 76. The expected move, shout out to Miss Danielle Shea. Let's check out what the expected move is right now on Square. 12%. Only up 7 right now is SQ. So what are those numbers?
Yeah, so I'm not, oddly enough, I'm not seeing the actual numbers. I'm seeing their guidance, but I can read you guys the guidance. So they are seeing adjusted Q2 operating income, $305 million to $325 million, adjusted EBITDA, $670 to $690 million, full year gross profit for 2024, $8.78 billion. They also did see a 6% increase in their first quarter GPV processing there, so 6% increase year over year. Seeing Q2 gross profit $2.165 billion to $2.185 billion. So nice moves there, but still only seeing, guys, I'm only seeing these forecasts and not the actual numbers we had for Q1 2024. So waiting for those actual numbers themselves to come in. Right now, just seeing forecasts, which the market seems to be reacting pretty strongly to. But overall, strange earnings report for Square. We were waiting for the numbers. Now we're mostly actually just getting the guidance. They did apparently see resilient consumer spending. So $542.9 million in adjusted net income, up from $271.2 million a year earlier, so that's like a double in net income. So nice look there.
Good look there. You know what? We just got another report out right now. It's DraftKings, so Mr. Donkey Kong, and not the Super Mario one. We've got a gambling situation here. And if you gambled into earnings, let's see what winds up happening. We did have an expected move right now of DraftKings of down or 10.8%, looking for an EPS of minus 28 cents. We'll find out what DraftKings has in store, but right now it is a little bit of a push down, not much, just a move down, now a move back up. We'll have to wait to see what's going on with DraftKings right now. And if, yeah, it looks like it's up slightly. Looking at the daily for DraftKings, kind of just a little boring, to be honest with you. We had Penn come out today as well, and, you know, kind of boring move there for DraftKings. We will get those.
We got the numbers for DraftKings, yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. I just want to look at Coinbase because I've just seen that this is continuing to go down. 221. All right, quickly, DraftKings, and then we're going to Miss Shea.
Okay, so DraftKings revenue here, we did have a beat. Q1 revenue, $1.174 million versus the $1.174 billion versus expected $1.12 billion. So that is a beat. They also had a smaller loss than expected here for Q1 operating income. Loss of $138 million versus expected $142 million. So smaller loss than expected there. Also finding out revenue growth of 53%. So that's quite a nice look there for DraftKings.
All right, U.S. Steel reporting 82 cents and missing, but you know what? We've got Trader Talk. It's Miss Danielle Shea. Let's go. Hey, Danielle, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Busy, but not doing too bad. Thank you for joining us on such a busy time. We just had U.S. Steel come out. We have Square moving around. You're going to be hopefully live with us when we get Apple dropping today as well. What's been the biggest surprise for you so far in this earnings season?
I think the biggest surprise for me has just been that there's been multiple companies that have beat revenue, they beat EPS estimates, and they get completely crushed. I
Right.
mean, you have an executive that says one little itty bitty thing that might be somewhat negative, and the stocks are going down. So, I think that that's what we're seeing right now. I think expectations are really high. And ideally, it'll give us some good opportunity to short some stocks or buy some long term investments.
Yeah, I was looking to maybe pick up some Microsoft, another one of those calls that you and I have talked about before as well. Microsoft pulling back a little bit here to the downside the last couple of days. All right, Danielle, the big sort of trade that maybe a lot of people are looking for now. Do you have anything on before Apple comes out? Is there anything, any sort of movement you're looking for? The expected move's only 4%. Does that give any opportunities for those of us looking to play options?
So I shorted Apple. I
Okay.
hope that I'm right. I guess we're about to find out here in a few minutes. But I think that Apple, it has the expected move about $6, $7,
Yep.
and based off of where it's trading right now, it's up against critical resistance. So, especially with the way that mega cap tech has been beating EPS estimates and selling off. If you look at Apple, Apple's already gapped down 3 quarters in a row, anyways. So we're in a bearish trajectory. We're near the lows on the year. So I shorted it, targeting 165. I guess we will see coming up soon if my guess was correct.
Yeah, we're going to get that very, very soon here with Apple. Excited to see what happens. Apple today. Short, eh? Okay. I'm long in around 169, so we'll have a little bit of a battle here at some point. Yeah, fight. All right, Square, nice move again, but Square to me bouncing again here off of some of these bottom $65. We just had an 11% move. That's pretty much in line here for Square. A nice beat on the top side for them. Again, trying to make moves here. Anything you're seeing on Square, I mean, it was a good move here, straight to the upside, looking to get 78, looking to break through 80. We get a nice psychological level right there of $80. Maybe it's not moving enough, but 16% does beat the expected move here on SQ. Is this maybe a continuation play for you tomorrow if we hold above 15, 16%?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're onto something with this one because the expected move was $7 and it's already up 8. And if it goes another $3 or so, then you could easily see a continuation move tomorrow, especially looking at the daily chart. You have critical resistance at 77.88, which is right about where it's at right now. So if it could just trade higher by another $2, $3 and gap up above the 50 simple on the daily chart, that's definitely something that we could trade. Typically for those, what I do is I watch the first 15-minute range in the morning. And then if you get a breakout after the first 15-minute range, that's when I can get long and target the next upside targets, which would be probably around 85.
Okay, yeah, I like that little look there because we never know. Square does have about I think it was about a 7% short float on that one. All right, you and I have talked about Tesla numerous times. Can't Apple do a Tesla, though, where it just got beat up? People are worried about deliveries with Tesla. They were right. People are going to be worried about iPhone sales in China. We've seen a bad demand for Starbucks, which I just actually opened up the app. I noticed even though Starbucks is down 18%, their prices still remain the same. So I was hoping them for a little bit lower than that. You like Starbucks, Danielle, as a consumer for Starbucks? And if so, what is your drink?
Well, I've grown up on Starbucks because I'm from Seattle. So
Okay, there you go.
I
know that.
have
Wicked.
spent many, many times in a Starbucks, especially in college. But I mean, at this point, I bought an espresso machine.
There
So
we go.
I don't
Yeah,
really
me
have
too.
any reason to go there and spend money except for when my kid begs me. So
Isn't that
I don't really go to
ridiculous?
Starbucks very often anymore.
You mean you don't make like green tea matcha cold foam at home? I think that's what my kids are looking for here. No, but what I was getting back to Apple just real quick. If China is maybe not as bad as they see, we know that they've had a change in sort of their policy, especially with the government of buying iPhones and supporting that company. But if I look at a chart here of Apple, I mean, I know you just talked about it. I just wonder, and I know you're going short here, but is there? I feel like there's a chance that we could get back up to the upside on Apple. And you've mentioned it before, they're not necessarily performing well on their past reports. So potentially, I guess we're in for a little bit of something here on the report. Is that not a possibility? And maybe that's why trading options is probably one of the best things to do because you have your sort of binary ins and outs, but you'll scalp out of positions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So I got into my position today, just right before the market closed, and I'll get out most likely tomorrow morning. I mean, I might
Okay.
end up holding it later in the day. It just depends if it's working or not. But I mean, I agree with you. There's always a possibility that the report could be better than feared. And that is typically when you'll see some of these stocks rally. But the thing is when you look at Apple, you're trading at 173 right now. It has a $6.56 expected move. So let's say that it does move just what's expected. All that's going to do is it's going to bring it right up into a critical resistance zone at 180. So I think that even if it does trade higher overnight and maybe into tomorrow, unless it gets up above 180, I still think you could short it again at that price point.
Yeah, I was still, I feel like if we get a 180 print, I feel like everyone can win because I do agree with you. I think you can win on the long and then watch out for a fade because I look at the NASDAQ and we're still under the 50 period moving average. It still doesn't look super strong to me. If you come over to my screen here, Ramin, this NASDAQ chart is looking like it's breaking even lower now. I mean, we just holding on, it looks like, by a thread. If we can come back in, I feel like the next support, couple handles lower down here into 400 for the NASDAQ. Any thoughts about the market in general? The last time you and I were on, well, not the last time, but another great call that you had was when we talked about the put-call ratio. Are you seeing any of that with maybe the Qs or the SPYs?
Sure, let me check it out. So, the main thing about the put call ratio is it hasn't been high enough for the market to bottom. The
Right.
put call ratio needs to get up above 1 and stay there for enough people to get short and the sentiment to get bearish enough for the market
Almost
to
got
actually
there.
bottom. We have had like a day here. I mean, yesterday it got up to 0.9, so it was getting close, but then it gapped down again today and it was down at 0.6 and it closed the day at 0.7. So I just think that there's not enough fear in the market yet for this thing to bottom. And I mean, here's the thing. If you look at the NASDAQ, we're just a stone's throw away from the lows in April. And so when you look at that price point and you can see that that's pretty much the last area of support that we have before we're going to hit the 200 simple on the daily chart. And I mean, at this point, that's another 800 points lower. And today with Apple, that's pretty much the last major catalyst that we have as far as earnings is concerned to potentially bring this higher. And as we talked about, I mean, Apple has beat 3 quarters in a row, and they've still traded lower 3 quarters in a row. So
that was the that was the interesting stat that you gave there. Just the fact that they'd had a good quarter, but yet traded lower off of that. So yeah, I'm not sure about the catalysts either coming through. We'll hear about it. They have that Let Loose event in early May. So wait a minute, it's early May right now. That
Yeah, it's May 7th.
May 7th. Thank you, Adara, for that one. Where's the time going? Oh, by the way, anything planted yet or any animals running around outside?
Okay, so I have to tell you this. There's a random turkey that's a feral turkey that comes up to my house, looks in the windows, gobbles at me.
Right.
And so I posted online and I was asking people, what can I do to make the turkey stay here?
Right.
And somebody told me, they said, you have to get a female turkey and put her in a pen to where the male turkey, because he's looking for a female.
Right.
So
okay, so did you not tell me you got a turkey? Did you get a turkey?
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have to get a female turkey and then I'll have a bunch of turkeys.
Okay, well then call me a turkey, but that sounds like it's gonna be a good Thanksgiving maybe in the Danielle Shea household. Okay, quick channel check. We do this all the time. Like if I want to buy Lululemon stock, I ask my wife, hey, what's Lululemon saying? Because she knows all that kind of stuff. Are people buying it? What are the lineups looking like? So do you have an iPhone, yes or no?
I don't. I have a Google Pixel and I love it.
Okay, well, why do I ask the person that's short Apple if she has an iPhone or not? Okay, so channel check failed right there. But yeah, we've got an iPhone. And Dara, you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone 8.
Oh,
so
looks
I'm
like you're
behind
the odd one out there, Danielle. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We are very minutes away now from getting Apple. That's exciting. Is there any other trade potentially of interest that you might want to talk about? I know you have your YouTube channel. You post up some videos on there. Is there anything at all that maybe you're working on or looking at that you may potentially have before we get these numbers to drop?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at Amazon, I think Amazon looks like a great swing trade. And I think it's probably the only one in mega cap tech that looks this strong. So if you look at Amazon on a daily chart, we had strong earnings. This stock actually held up after strong earnings, which is a little bit unique. And you just have this fantastic pattern. You have this nice trend. You have a bit of a cup and handle pattern here. You have a target at a new all-time high. You got that Fibonacci extension level at 196 and then 204. So, you have all that. You have incoming volume. You have a squeeze. So I threw on some butterflies here. I'm going to try to trade it up into 195 and try to trade this relative strength in Amazon.
All right, yeah, we do like that Amazon play. We had Mercado Libre as well to the upside. We had Alibaba. Did you see, by the way, did you see Alibaba today? I don't know if you ever trade in Chinese ADRs or whatever, but this is a great chart. Alibaba, this is a name that I actually bought in my own account at 71 and change. Great base bottom there. I really like this, trying to break out now. Alibaba, I want you to put this on your radar, Danielle, because, and thank me later, this breakout through $77, they have a 25 billion share buyback program on. Great report, Alibaba, their next earnings next week, or May 14th, whenever that is, coming out. I really like Alibaba. Anything of interest before we get Apple here on Alibaba? What does this look like to you? Something that interests you by any chance?
Sure. So I'll trade breakouts like this. I mean, especially if it breaks out up above the 200 simple. So that's the major line in the sand for me. You're basically right underneath it right now. So if it could get up above, man, I'd probably say 81 and actually close above there, that's when I'd be a lot more confident in the breakout.
All right, here we go. I mean, it is 4:30, and you're going to be able to be live with us right here, Danielle. So let's get some. We'll get some. What? You're all nervous, Adara?
I'm excited. I'm excited for these Apple earnings.
Okay, Adara's a little excited here, as I think we all are right now. Do you even own Apple shares?
No, but I just, I want to see what it does.
Yeah, no, hey, nothing wrong. You can get excited without having skin in the game. I mean, that is for sure. And Danielle, by the way, this is Adara.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, actually, we don't have a double screen set up. I just hear. Oh, we do have a double screen.
Oh, we got Apple
okay, here we go. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Apple is now out, Danielle, but unfortunately for right now, it is a move to the upside. Apple right now starting to get going here. It's an upside move. I'll put this back in my ear so I can hear it. They had a revenue beat. Okay, that was
90.75 billion versus 90 billion expected.
all right, definitely not expected there on the revenue beat. We talked about that. Is that rabbit coming out of the hat or not? Was the wool pull over people's eyes here about Apple? And here's the number right here live on Benzinga Pro. We've got the gap EPS beating 153, but Danielle said this before. We've beat before and seen another move. And look at sales, 90.8 versus a beat of 90.01. That is what I was looking for, a beat there in Apple, but right there, they just did 45 billion there, Danielle, in iPhone sales. Like, whatever. That is just a monster number. 7 billion in Mac sales. Looks like we're starting to go to the upside a little bit here with Apple, but it's just, Danielle, looks like trying to get to our levels of 180. So far, so good here for Apple. Let's see what happens on this upside near 180. It is difficult, though, for sure, Danielle, when you're looking at a stock and you're looking at it when the numbers first drop. We've seen a complete reversal in patterns, especially when they get on the call. Looks like wearables now 8 billion as well. Looks like that's a beat. The board, okay, this is not going to be good news, Danielle, unfortunately, in my opinion. Apple board authorizes 110 billion share repurchase program, increases the dividend as well. So I guess, Danielle, one person that's going to get richer off of all of this is Mr. Warren Buffett. He collects $400 million a quarter already, and now we get a dividend raise. But hey, we're right up there to 180. Any initial thoughts on some of the movement?
Yeah, I mean, it looks good so far. They had to pull out all the stops for sure. Dividend raise and share buyback. I mean, that's what they needed to do. So I would say that so far right now, it's within the expected range. For me, it all depends on if it breaks 180. If it breaks 180, absolute long. It's probably going to pull up the NASDAQ tomorrow, which, hey, I'll lose money on my Apple short, but it also wouldn't be the worst thing for the NASDAQ to trade higher, obviously. So we'll see. But I mean, 180 is the line in the sand for me. So we'll just have to see if it gets through there or not.
I mean, this is exactly the honesty and everything that we talk about on the show all the time. It's like we can make calls, we can make plays, and as long as it sets up the way we think it should, we put our money on the line every single day, and that's why we continue to have you back. And real sees real, Danielle. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But did we already show your website, or do you want to show that again? Do you have that ready to go? I do want to make sure that people can go check that out because we always get questions about different strategies, how to put them on, and great educational resource. So let me throw it over to you, Danielle, and then we're going to get out of here.
Yeah, check it out. On my YouTube channel, I go over real trades that I do, the good ones and the bad ones, so that everyone can learn from the good and the bad, like I said. So this is my trade review series. You can check it out right here. I go over iron condors, butterflies, earnings trades, all kinds of stuff. So you can follow me at Trader Danielle to learn more.
All right, well, Trader Danielle, I mean, now Apple's coming back in a little bit, now back to 178. So there's that magical 180 level that we talked about, Apple coming back in just a little bit. All right, Danielle, we will touch base tomorrow and we'll figure out exactly where Apple is going. I will see you on X, and you're still coming to Toronto potentially this summer. Is that still true, or?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but maybe next year.
Okay, I'm out of here. All right, Dara, take over. No, just playing around. All right, thank you so much. It was we sit back in our seat. I muted myself. That's how upset I was, but I'm back right now. All right, Danielle, I will see you soon then. Maybe we'll come visit you and see that little turkey farm of yours that is brewing. Thank you, Danielle. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Trader Talk. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Apple, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit of bad news here.
Well, I'm looking at these numbers.
We just broke 180, baby.
Oh, we did. Well, I was going to say, I think part of why we're so strong is we were all really worried about what Apple would do in China. I think that was part of why we had a little bit of weakness last earnings despite a beat. However, we had net sales in China, 16.37 billion versus 15.25 billion expected. That is more than $1 billion above the expectation. Also saying that they had sales growth year over year for Q2 or their fiscal Q2 in China. So for me, that positive China news amidst a lot of worries for China could have buoyed these a little bit. That's my take.
And I like that take as well. But you know what other take we like? We like to see who's still with us because we had over 4,000 people sitting here with us. We still have 3,900 of you. Look at that. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We are 187 subs away. Let's do it on the recap show.
Do it.
You know, because then we'll be like, look, we already have the best show. We have two of the best hosts. You and I think it was Neil yesterday. I'm here today. Sorry about that. We have the best guests. And we need to get those sub numbers going. So let's go hit that subscribe button for us if you can. Get up to 450. The person who is lucky number 450 gets to be lucky number 450. I mean, that means a lot. I don't have a prize for them, unfortunately. If we did, I'd get one.
You just know that you were the 450th subscriber, 450,000th. Yeah.
The important thing is who's here right now.
That is what matters.
So let me say hi to everybody. What's up, Mr. Westermeyer? He has his best day in 2 months. Congratulations. 9 for 9 with earnings options plays, says Jeff Goggin. They already hit the roll call? I think I already did, right? I did already. Okay, what's up? Sean Don, I like that. What's up, Trey Only? The Sean Donski's here as well. Rod is here. Rod Parody. What's up, Rod? The best subs. I mean, we do have the best subscribers. I mean, you guys keep on supporting every single thing that we're doing here, and we want to say thank you to that one as well. I mean, that's what it's all about. Oscar Blaze is here. Mike Breeze is here. Shadera, someone just said. Sean and Adara.
Yeah. I mean, you could also say that about Sharif and I too, though, I guess, Shadera, but with a CH.
Don't ever say that to Sharif because he'll never stop saying it.
Okay, never.
Okay, so, no, that's our thing.
It's our thing.
I hear you mention that to Sharif.
I won't. I will not remember.
Yeah.
I do, but
Do not remember this.
I will block it out. Ramin called me on that.
I'm just playing around. Yeah, no, you can say whatever you want, of course.
Funny.
All right, thank you so much to everybody, man. It's been an absolutely fantastic day. Just a quick little look. That was roll call. Let me just hit this again. Apple right now. Let's just go over some of the big earnings plays before we let you go. It's Apple right now. Nicely done. Up 4%. Well, it was expected 4%, now up 6%. Apple's mooning a little bit, up to 180. We'll see about that. Coinbase does pull back, but kind of right where it needs to be. Not much happening for Coinbase there. Square was up, now pulling back. Square, nice move up to 80. We talked about that level with Danielle as well. That name's pushing back pretty much as expected. What was another big name? We had Ramin booking a whole bunch of different trips. Expedia to the downside right now, down to 124, down 4.4. When can I get a vacation? Down 4.4%. I was actually looking at my schedule. It's like, no, this weekend we have a tournament here, tournament there.
So many tournaments.
These kids, man. I want to take the kids. I want to have.
They're
a
doing
break.
all the sports.
They're doing all and chess and golf.
I forgot about the chess,
Tonight
too.
is hockey again and golf.
So like winter sport and summer sport, same night.
All right. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. A quick little check back in on Apple to see what's going on there. Square, Expedia, Coinbase, those were all the big ones. Let's just check in on DraftKings, and then we'll get out of here, as that was the last one. DraftKings, $43, not much happening there. Apple, $179. Okay, Adara, thank you so much for joining me one more time. Maybe you're permanent here, maybe you're not, but I hope that you are.
I love being
Miss
here.
Adara on the recap show. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you to our wonderful guest, Miss Danielle Shea. We can still be friends, although you're not coming to visit. Ah, well. Until we see you next time, I'm Sean Katina. That's Adara. Go find me at Trader TV. Sean, see you tomorrow.
Yep.